All right, thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Town of Douglas Conservation Commission meeting of September 9th, 2024. This meeting is being recorded and broadcast by local access programming and with remote participation available as provided on our agenda. I just wanted to check, is there anyone here recording? No one else is recording? Thank you. I hereby call this meeting to order at 6:30. I'll take a roll call of members in attendance.
Jim Foran.
Brendan Doyle.
Mike Greco.
Josiah Birch.
And Mark Munjum. Thanks very much. I'd like to welcome Kate to our first meeting. Thank you for joining. Great to have you. So we have an agenda tonight, taking attendance. First thing on our agenda was, or is a Stormwater MS4 Stakeholder Committee volunteer. Matt, do you want to?
Yeah, so we're trying to establish members for the stakeholder committee. Their responsibility is to formalize a general bylaw with the MS4 before January, because the EPA is kind of cracking down on us a little bit, so we need to get this thing established and up to town meeting in the spring. So the stakeholder committee would meet on the off Wednesdays of the Conservation Commission up until about January. So we're looking for like 3-4 months worth of commitment from a member of Concom, if that's possible.
I know you sent out an email asking if there was any interest in that. Did you get back any response?
No.
Okay. Do I take that to mean that no one's interested in participating in the stormwater?
You don't have to know what you're doing. It's okay. Well, he's looking at me like, yeah, you need to know what you're doing.
Be nice.
I'd really like to, Mark, but I don't have the time. I
Yeah.
really would. But maybe if
Yeah.
it was later in the year, like,
Yeah, I have the same issue. I agree. It's hard to find the time. So,
Any members, new members interested?
I'm not hearing, so.
Okay. I'll report back to the town administrator.
Mail orders, I've passed around some mail orders to be signed by the commission for work that's been done. Meeting minutes. We have several meeting minutes that have not been reviewed and approved, starting with February 12th, February 26th, and June 17th.
I have notes if you'd like me to share.
I would love for you to share some notes.
Okay, on the last page of the February 12th minutes, where it reads mail orders to be signed, it reads Jim motions to recommend the property transferred to the Open Space Committee. I don't believe that was the motion. The property transferred as open space. It's not to the committee. That would be transferred from the select board to the commission as open space.
Right.
Just change that to property transferred as open space.
I agree.
That's the only comment I have in these minutes. Thought they were really well.
Open space.
Okay, attending that meeting were myself, Mike Greco, Jim Foran. So are those the only members here that can vote on that?
Anyone can vote on them, so long as they've read them and they understand what they're voting on.
Okay.
That's fine.
Do I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes from February 12th with the recommended revision?
So
that
moved.
Matt made? Okay, motion's been made to approve. Any second?
Second.
Mike Greco seconds. All those in favor of approving the February 12th meeting minutes?
Jim Foran, aye.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
It's okay.
Mike Greco, aye.
You can
Josiah
abstain.
Birch, aye.
Mark Munjum, aye. Okay. The next meeting minutes were from February 26th.
One comment on these, Mr. Chairman. On page 2, item 9, third paragraph reads DCR public safety notices. This conversation is had about what? I'm not going to say it, but that needs to be corrected.
Yep,
Okay.
spelling change.
Yep. And that's the only comment I had on these.
Actually, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Josiah?
number 9, and this is for,
Oh,
yeah, you spelled my name.
I see. Yep.
Which one are we on?
February
You got
26th.
your name completely wrong there.
Yeah,
I got you.
yeah, that's okay.
That-
Yep, I see that.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have any other revisions to the minutes? Hearing none, anyone make a motion to approve the meeting minutes for February 26th with the revisions of the spelling of Josiah Birch's name and the word dam under DCR public safety notices?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor of accepting the February 26th meeting minutes?
Jim Foran, aye.
Brendan Doyle abstain.
Kate Thompson abstained.
Mike Greco, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye. Okay, and last, June 17th, 2024 meeting minutes.
I think they have Josiah's last name incorrect here.
That's good. Right.
One more time, right on the absent
Yes.
line.
Yep.
And that is the only comment I had here.
Okay. Anyone want to make a motion to accept the June 17th meeting minutes with the change in the spelling of Josiah Birch's name?
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Mike. All those in favor?
Jim Foran, aye.
Brendan Doyle abstain.
Kate Thompson abstained.
Mike Greco, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye.
All right.
Moving on, task 3 on our agenda is the Open Space Committee.
Yep. So you asked us if we had funds available for purchasing of signs. We just need to talk to our town accountant if the wetland fund has extra in it. But right now, we're looking in our conservation expense account has about 1,800, but there's more in our wetlands fund account. So we'll have to get back to you on that.
So what account did you said has $1,800 in
Our
it?
expense account.
And can that be used for this purpose?
That's what we need to find out from the town accountant.
Okay. If we cannot use that, what is it for? Do you know?
I'm not totally sure.
Okay. Well, the Conservation Commission needs an avenue to be
Yep.
able to spend money, to be able to maintain the properties and to put signage up. So one way or the other, we need to work out a way to have funds to do that.
Okay.
Item 4, emergency certification. Just so you guys aren't familiar with this, the Open Space Committee came to us at our last meeting and suggested some improved signage at one of the pieces of land that the Conservation Commission oversees and has. And so and there's also another property that we need to provide a sign for. And so we just want to be able to move forward with that. So looking for money to do so, making sure we have some money to do that. All right, item 4, emergency certification, Rydell Road and 9 Rydell Road, Town of Douglas.
I don't think so. So, I don't think our highway department rep is here tonight, but I can talk about this.
Okay.
So, as you see in your packet, Rydell Road, as everyone well aware, constantly has floods when there's a significant rain event, because there's beaver dams that back up the water there, and the property owners aren't doing anything about it. So, the highway department has a suggestion here to put in some outlet pipes to help alleviate the issue, which then discharge onto town property. I can pull this up on the screen if you'd like. Get this up here. So in the, let me share the screen here. So talk about putting two 12-inch drain pipes coming from this property here to come across onto the town property here. They have consent from the owner of 24 Rydell Road to do this work. And this is to put these under the road to help alleviate the water and the ponding situation that you see in some of the photos. That gets really bad. Floods out that parking lot and that business. It's pretty substantial. So why it's not an emergency now? During a rain event, it becomes an emergency, and they want to be able to take care of this before it happens again. So the emergency cert would be for 30 days for them to do the work within 30 days.
Right. So looking at their plan here, the discharge for the twin 12-inch drain pipes, is it directly into Rydell Brook?
No. It's into the woods before that, so there's going to be some buffer for the vegetation to soak in.
And there, is there any kind of attenuation of the speed of the water coming out of those pipes, or is it going to be needed to keep erosion of the bank from occurring?
Shows riprap at the end, right?
There's riprap in.
Oh, it does, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yep.
so there's going to be some stone at the end. Mr. Through the chair, I think that's really all that's necessary here. It's water ponding on the other side, so it's not like it's getting direct flow from the stream up gradient.
Yep.
Brandon, do you know how far that is from the stream?
I'm going to say you get about 25 feet.
Really?
The stone might come a little closer, but thing is, they're showing a line there that I don't think is entirely accurate, because they got that off of Google Maps or whatever it is. It's not perfect. This is what I call an emergency cert plan.
Yeah.
And it's actually a pretty good one, because it's not chicken scratch hand drawn.
Okay.
Yeah.
25 feet's really close.
I know it is, but you got to think about what the alternative is to continue the flooding of the business and the properties nearby.
Maybe you shorten the pipe? I don't know.
Can it be shortened?
Yeah. So it's not just dumping it right in the, I mean, I was over there when that was flooded like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Mike Fitzpatrick and his business is in the back, and that was pretty, there was a lot of water.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Oh, yeah.
Water.
Well, I
So I don't know, dumping it in the river like that, I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's water that came directly from there. It's not like it's stormwater that's coming from the street and that has road sand and salt and,
Coming from the,
It's
those
from,
parking lots.
no, it's actually from the river. It goes to the parking lots.
It's from the river.
Yes.
Yeah, so the river, the road acts like a dam, and the pipes that are there right now can't handle the high flow, so it like builds up behind it, and then what ends up happening is that when it gets enough backup, it ends up flowing into the adjacent properties. So it's basically just a little side bypass. Let me bring up a,
I'm getting there.
So as I see this situation is it really, these pipes are only ever going to take water when Rydell Brook floods.
correct.
There you go.
And so it's really just an emergency way of releasing that water without it backing up on the two properties or on the property.
Yeah. So
I've got it up on the screen.
where am I? Rydell. Rydell Road. Okay, here we go. Riddlebrook and go away and come on. How do I?
So along with you, Josiah, I think if this was
Go ahead and
a regular flow of water all the time, I'd be very concerned about the distance and making sure that the end of the pipe had some flow reduction. So they have proposed the riprap swale, so I think that's a help. I think as often as this is going to have water in it, I'm not concerned at all, personally. But, I mean, I think you make a good point, and I was concerned about the separation too. I thought it was like right next to
It
the.
looks like it's right on top of them.
Right.
I mean,
Right. So here we, okay. So there's Riddlebrook, Rydell Brook, rather. And, come on. Too much stuff in the way. Base map. Local 2023. Okay, so what happens on the left-hand side, the water backs up because the road acts as a dam and the culverts just aren't sufficient to carry the water that's coming through, and it backs up, and what ends up happening is the low point for overflow is in this area.
Right.
So this area fills up with water adjacent, all connected to the bank, and then what ends up happening is ends up overflowing and goes into this business right here,
yeah,
right, which is no bueno. So,
it goes all the way. Oh, yeah.
right.
It goes all the way.
Yeah. So then what they want to do is they want to put the pipe in right here, and the beauty is that this property right here is owned by the town of Douglas, so there's no problems with ownership or putting a structure on the site. So you're just going to go from this area, the overflow area, to across to alleviate the flooding, so these areas and further do not get flooded. So it's not like the water's coming from the road or from any of these businesses, it's just back up from the brook here.
So Brandon, is there any reason why they just don't make the existing culverts larger?
I'm guessing time and money.
That makes sense.
Not that they haven't done it in other places, but that's where we're at with this one.
Want me to make a motion? Or,
I don't know, are we okay to, I know we have some concerns, but are we okay to let them proceed with this emergency order?
Are we going to take a vote?
Yes.
I don't agree with that.
Okay.
So
All right.
we should maybe spend a little more time on the emergency, you know?
Well, you have your opinion, and that's
Yeah,
okay.
It's just,
That's good.
my own opinion.
Yep.
That's it.
Does anyone want to make a motion to approve the emergency order?
I will. Make a motion for emergency certificate for Rydell Road and number 9 Rydell Road to put in 12-inch outlet pipes and discharge to the town property for the 30 days to do the work.
Okay, motion's been made. Does anyone want to second that?
Brendan Doyle, second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Can I get a vote?
Jim Foran, aye.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
You can vote if you'd like.
Oh, can I abstain?
Yes.
Yeah, sure you can.
abstain, yeah.
You can all-
Kate Thompson abstain.
Mike Greco, aye.
Okay, Mark Mungem, aye.
Josiah
Sorry.
Birch, no.
I
Put
knew,
that on the record, no.
yeah.
I don't agree with that. I'm surprised, Mark, that you're agreeing with this,
Yep.
but that's my vote, no.
Okay, thank you. It does pass. Is there something we're going to sign?
Yes.
Okay. That'll be coming around. All right.
Well, I don't know how good a job I'm going to do at it. So it's all the ones that are sticking straight up? Yeah. Okay, I'll see what I can do the rest of the night. Yeah, might as well.
Can people in the audience hear us okay? Okay.
Not on all the microphones.
Not on all. Okay, next item on the agenda is number 5, which is another emergency certification. This one for the Southern New England Trunk Line Trail, DCR. Do you have information on this? Yes. Is someone here to represent DCR? No.
Thank you.
Okay. So what we have here, if I could just move this Zoom thing out of the way. We have an emergency cert here for,
Can you move the microphone closer? Pat?
yes.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's an emergency cert for, what was this? This was like, Brandon, help me with this. This was like, this work was already done, right? And this was like there was flooding of the trail, and they were caused by beavers, so what they did is they put in a pond leveler and cleaned out the beaver dam, I suppose. Is that? I can't see what I'm looking at. Hold on, there it is. And they installed a fence along the culvert inlet and this pond leveler that keeps the beavers from backing up any of the sticks and stuff that get into through the culvert. This work was already done. This is an after-the-fact emergency cert by the representatives, and DCR called me on Friday stating that they were in favor of this. So they're not here to represent that, but that's really all this was clearing up culverts, part of this net.
Through the chair, it also saves the beaver from having to be trapped.
Right.
So they can continue to be in the pond, and it's just a device. It's actually called a beaver deceiver. Yeah. Yeah, it's won awards for preventing, there's a lot of beaver out there that are now alive because of this device, because otherwise they'd have to trap them and get rid of them. So this allows the pond elevations to remain at a designed elevation, letting the water out, and the beaver can't block it.
Right.
I always wondered what they were.
Yeah. Yeah, well, beaver, they rush to the sound of rushing water, and then wherever there's the sound of water, then they have to plug it up. With this, it's a pipe that's under the water, it's surrounded by a round, like, gate, so you can't hear the water going in. So they never even know the water's leaving.
It's deceiving. All right. Any thoughts or comments? I mean, the work's already been done, so I don't really think we need to discuss it very much, but I mean, if anyone has any thoughts or comments, I mean, I think it's a good thing. I actually have seen this trail and seen where it was put in place, and it alleviates the flooding of the trail and the erosion of the trail, so I think it's necessary and a good way to combat the beaver. Because, I mean, you can take the dam away, they'll come back, so.
How does it get paid for?
This is a
DCR paid for it and did it.
Yeah, it's on their property, it's in the Douglas State Forest, so, yeah. So, their property.
So I guess, anyone want to make a motion to approve the emergency notification or emergency certification?
Sure, I'll make a motion for the emergency certification for Southern New England Trunk Trail to approve.
Anyone on a second?
Second.
Mike Greco seconds the motion. All those in favor?
Jim Farr and I.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Kate Thompson, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Right, thank you. Next item, number 6, is an enforcement order for 206 West Street, Victoria, Ruco.
So, Mr. Chairman, this is an observation made in the field, and I can't get my pictures to load, but ultimately, it appeared from the street that the resident of 206 West has installed a riding ring directly within pure jurisdiction of resource area. Now, I could pull this up on GIS just so we could see it. But I've since been in touch with the homeowner, and they're working on filing an RDA with us. So before this was on the agenda, I did not hear from them. So having heard back from them, I'm willing to, I guess, recommend that we kind of wait on this till next meeting and see if they file their RDA.
Did you see a riding ring?
Yeah, for horses.
Oh, okay.
Yep. I'll show the property anyway.
I take it that's where the stick and the horse.
It's hard to tell. It looks like a cleared area that it seems to be kind of round. It's hard to say, but I don't want to say too much about it because I can only see it from the street. So there's not much to see here. But when you look up here, this is the area, and there's clearly a stream right here, and this is the area that was cleared. And you can only see it from the road, but it looks like a vast amount of clearing took place. So they're going to be filing an RDA with us pretty soon. So I'd say keep this on our agenda for next meeting. If we don't get an RDA, we issue an EO.
So you're saying, it says here enforcement order, but an enforcement order was not given.
No. That'd be up to us to decide if we want to do that or carry it on to the next agenda.
But you've been in contact with the property owner?
Yes.
And they are intending to file
Yes.
an RDA
Yes.
after the fact?
Yes.
Yeah, if anything, that'll get us onto the property to more fully explore.
Right.
Thank you.
Are they aware of our meeting dates?
Yes.
And were they given a time frame as to when they should be coming back to us?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. How did you notice this?
The building commissioner called me.
Okay.
He spotted it from the road, so that prompted me to go out and look. I knocked on the door a few times, left my business card in the door, they didn't answer until they called me back after returning from a couple of days away.
Okay.
Right, and may I show one more picture? May.
Absolutely.
Actually, it's not going to help. The picture that was just up, I got Google Earth, and that'll get us as close as May of 2023, but, let's see here. I don't think it's going to add any value at the moment, so once the RDA gets in.
Yep, we'll look at it then. All right, number 7, another enforcement order, Wallem Lake Terrace Beach.
Yep. So last meeting, we issued an RDA for this, but we didn't vote to remove the enforcement order. So it's just a formality to remove the enforcement order after the negative DOA was issued. Just a procedural matter.
Someone want to make a motion to release the enforcement order for Wallem Lake Terrace Beach?
Sure, I'll make a motion to release the enforcement for Wallem Lake Terrace Beach with the negative RDA, right?
Yep. It was already given. Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Motion was made. Do I have a second?
Brendan Doyle, second.
Thanks, Brendan. All those in favor of releasing the enforcement order previously put on Wallem Lake Terrace Beach?
Jim Four and I.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Kate Thompson, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Mark Monjamai. Thank you. All right, next up, extension request for an order of conditions, DEP number 143-1027, 2 Makowski Drive.
Hi, how are you?
Hi,
This is Karen Lizzie. I'm the homeowner of 2 Makowski Drive.
I'm sorry, state your name again?
Kara Terlizzi.
Okay, thank you, Kara.
Yep. So, I'm not sure, I know Jen said that you guys had some questions on the approval of our extension. So I'm just trying to, we moved in and had an unexpected baby. So finances, it's really expensive to do the wetlands replication. So we've been holding off until early this spring, but we've had a really, really, really tough time getting a hold of the site engineer that we used, which was Colonial Engineering in, I want to say, Medway. So we're kind of pressed for time now, but we've been reaching out to them since April, and they've kind of just been pushing us around, and now we're here. So I'm trying to get that figured out and cleared up. And I actually have some things that I was trying to get cleared up through the town as well, so.
Okay. I'm a little confused. What is the notice of intent? What was they required to?
I believe this was to build
An
up.
extension on the wetlands replication, and our site engineer is not approving the wetlands crossing, our second culvert that is coming in from our house. So it's like you enter the street, there's one set of like culvert pipes, and then you have a second set of culvert pipes. So they're not signing off on that essentially, which we're kind of having a hard time with that because the pitch of the pipe is correct, the height of the pipe is correct. I had the site developer who put the culvert pipes in, I had him and his engineer come out and they had their device and they showed me and it was spot on, the pitch, everything. So I don't know how we go forward from there, if I'm able to even allow another engineer to go through that and maybe take a second look and approve it. I'm not sure if that's allowed, but I'm trying to get that resolved. And then I haven't been able to get in touch consistently with the site engineer to even get the wetlands replication area marked off. So that's where we're at right now. Like, we're able to get the land developer in the next 2 weeks only to do the wetlands replication, but I can't even get the site engineer out to mark the spot or to make an approval to give us like the as-built for it.
So to answer your question, Mr. Chairman, the NOI was for the construction of a new home, and it had 2 crossings to create the driveway. And those are what the replication area was for.
And the driveway was built and
Yeah, go ahead.
installed, and, but the replication part of the work was not completed.
Right. So they haven't applied for a
Correct.
certificate
We
of
held off on
compliance.
that for financial reasons.
Right. They still need to do that in order to get their certificate of compliance. So,
Correct. The wetlands replication has to completely be done. Like, that has not been touched at all. Like, the culvert was done, but the site engineer did not approve of it, said the pipe looked a little high just by eyeballing it. And, he was able to give me the point of reference with the pin in the tree. My land developer came out and he had the correct elevation, showed me all the numbers, showed me the machine, wrote it all down, had the engineer do it a second time to give the definite second check. And he said everything's okay, and then Colonial Engineering is in the wind right now, so.
Okay. All right, thank you. So I know that you have 3 years with the order conditions. Can we allow only 1 year for a extension, or does it have to be 3 more years?
You can do one.
you could do one, but
Do
you also
upgrade.
want them to install the replication area, and then it has to sit for how many years?
2 years. Now,
2 years.
Yeah, it can be, it can have gone, it can expire during that 2-year period if you want it to, but they can't build it outside of the valid period.
All right.
Okay. So I do have, so.
Ma'am, can you, wait, ma'am, can you let us discuss this, please, for a minute?
Yes.
Thank you. So Brandon,
Yes, sir.
it can be 1 year.
Yes.
But obviously, it's a replication area, so it has to show that it's working. So you need more time after 1 year.
Correct. You need, it's 2 full growing seasons that the wetland replication area has to grow. And has to meet certain performance standards, the biggest one of which is that 75% of the area that was built has to be occupied by what's called indigenous species, which means that they're not only native to North America, but they're native to Massachusetts. So they have 2 full growing seasons. So if they say if they plant in August, that's not a full growing season, right? So they have to plant usually by June. June 1st is usually the cutoff date for that. And then, by the time we get to October, that's a full growing season. And then you got to go to another year, so.
Well, we have to give them an extension because we have to let them complete this work. But I'm concerned about giving them a 3-year extension and then getting put off, and then we come back again after another 3 years. So I would like to force the issue a little bit and make sure that the work itself is done within a year. Because it should have happened already. The driveway's already in, the pipes are already in, the work was already done. It should have been done at the same time.
Good point, Mr. Chairman. In fact, in the future, I am going to recommend every time that if there's a wetland replication, that the commission makes a motion or makes a special condition that the replication area be completed first, before the other work, wherever possible. Sometimes it's not possible just because of configurations of things, but that's the way it should be done, because replication areas often get forgotten about, because what do you want to do when you want to build? You build the house, right?
Yeah.
That's the focus. And wetland replication areas often languish. Yeah. So,
Can I make a comment on that, or are you still?
Just a minute, any comment from any commission members on the?
A question, Brandon, are you talking about the replication of just wetlands under those conditions, or?
correct, yeah. So in the case of a wetland replication area, it means that somewhere else on site, they filled wetlands. So they were required to replace or replicate the wetland somewhere else on site, which means they have to build it. So you have to take a perfectly good upland area, cut down all the trees, dig out a hole, and then turn that into a wetland. Yeah.
Do we consider financial?
No,
Can't. No,
financial is not your problem.
absolutely not, right?
Or
I mean-
having a surprise child?
It's kind of tough.
I can't, we weren't trying to get pregnant. And I have the proof living in my house, so. And the wetlands replication, to speak to that, we weren't throwing it to the side. It's the way our driveway is, and obviously, like, there's no, our property specifically was very difficult to build on in the sense that there was only one entrance and one entrance only onto the property. It's a narrow rectangle, only 300 and I want to say 50 feet wide, with wetlands on both sides running 250 feet, I want to say, up both sides of the driveway. So we were working within very narrow guidelines, and where our wetlands replication was going to be difficult within the season of the building to even start to establish wetlands plants to do the replication. Because in order for us to get the wetlands plants in there, in June, I want to say, we didn't even have bluestone fully in. We had like the first like muddy layer down, but until we were ready to move in, it was March when we got the certificate of occupancy.
This year?
So, and then
This year?
Of 2022,
21?
we got the certificate
Okay,
of occupancy issued.
all right.
So, and then in March.
So you understand what we're saying is that it should be done in conjunction with the creation of the access and not wait until that's all done. So I'm sorry to be difficult, but that's the law. The replication is just as important to us, more important to us than the driveway and the house. So.
I understand that, and I'm not trying to throw it on the side because, we've, like I said, like since the beginning of the year and in the springtime, I've been trying to reach out to the site engineer to even get this started. Because we've been able to do this site replication since April. And it's been nothing. I reached out to Jen. Jen actually even called Colonial Engineering and left a voicemail. And within that day, I got a call back. But it's been probably 3.5 weeks now where he's like, I'm coming out this Saturday. Oh, I'm going to try to get out this Saturday. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know where to draw the line of, like, I'm trying to figure out myself if I can get a different site engineer because we've been trying since April, and that's
Okay,
the reason why we even found out,
Through the
that
chair.
it's expiring.
okay, thank you.
I have something that might actually help.
Yeah, you go ahead.
So the site plan has already been completed. There's a wetland replication plan in this order of conditions, right? So the way I see it is you don't really need the engineer because they've already designed it. What you need now is a contractor who can figure out how to build it. So
Correct.
it's really not on Colonial. You don't really need Colonial. You just need to find a contractor.
But to get the as-built, is that something, they're saying that we need an as-built
You'll need that for your
for the
CFC.
site?
Yes,
Is that incorrect?
Eventually, yeah.
yes, you will need an as-built to come back to us to get a certificate of compliance.
Okay, but is that in two growing cycles?
No, that's once it's built.
Just once it's built? And can it be somebody other than Colonial Engineering? Can I get somebody like
Yes,
outside of Colonial? I
a
can't.
professional surveyor or engineer can,
Yeah, okay. So that would be a lot better.
Mr. Chairman?
Jen had given me a list of site engineers. so
Yes, Josiah.
we can use-
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to have, is it 2 Murkowski Drive, to start their growing season, I guess, in June next year, 2025.
So it's a,
So does that mean that you're voting for, you're making a motion
An
for a
extension.
one-year extension then?
To June 2025, yeah, to start.
so the 1 year would go until October of 2025.
And that doesn't help us with the 2-year.
Well, the 1 year would be, it's up this month, right?
It's up in October.
Right, so
1
the
year.
1 year would
Maybe
end.
extending them to June so they could start the,
It has to be in increments of 1, 2, or 3 years, not, you can't go by months, unfortunately.
can't,
Yeah. So you've got until next September or September 26 or 27. Those are your choices.
But next year wouldn't be enough, right? So we need at least 2 years, if I'm hearing you right.
If they build in June or before June, then I think it works out just fine. It would work out just fine if they
Before
build in.
June of next year.
yeah, maybe somehow we can include that they start in June, and that way,
Well, the way you would include that is if they didn't start in June and they came back next September for another extension, you would
Right.
just deny it and tell them they have to submit a new notice of intent.
right,
I think that would get their attention.
okay.
We're starting it this week with with Kennedy Excavating.
Oh,
He has 2 weeks free. So it's just, we're unsure if we even needed somebody to mark off the wetlands area, or if we were gonna get, nailed for not having to mark off. Like, we have the border around the property, but we didn't have the front half of the wetlands replication area marked off. Now Kennedy has
Yeah.
engineers and said, like, they can do the calculation to figure out like the exact square footage and the exact pinpoints. It's just, I didn't want to just pull the trigger and say like, let's do it today. But he has these next 2 weeks and he said, just get back to me after your meeting. And so if,
yeah, you just have to make sure that it's in the right place. So,
It's-
because
yeah.
you got to make
It's
sure
very
that
clear.
you're putting it in the location that was
Correct.
approved on the notice of intent.
we are getting a little off
Correct.
topic.
Yeah, a little bit.
yeah, so he has the
Okay.
whole schematic and he's,
Okay.
he's
All right.
got an engineer as well, but it's just not a civil site engineer.
Okay, we need to move on, ma'am, I'm sorry. Anybody, do you want to revise your motion and make it a year, or are you not?
Yeah, let's make it 1 year. I'd like to revise my motion to be a year from, what's today, September 9th?
From the October,
Well, it's
Or we
due
could
to
go off
expire
the
in
October?
Yeah.
Okay. 1 year from this October
Okay,
extension.
Very good.
Motion to extend
Anyone want to second that motion?
Brendan Doyle, second.
All right, motion is made and seconded to allow for a one-year extension of the order of conditions for 2 Makowski Drive. All those in favor?
Jim Farn, aye.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Kate Thompson, I.
Mike Greco, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Mark Mangumai. Thank you. So we have a one-year extension, Kara.
Okay.
Great. All right.
All right, item number 9, another certificate of compliance. This one, DEP number 143-1068, Tanyel Bedrosian, 61 U Street, map 197, lot 9. Anyone here representing this project?
Oh, Mr. Chairman, I met with the wetlands specialist here, Joyce Hastings, on the property, and she brought to my attention what's actually within the commission's jurisdiction. And there's a 100-foot buffer zone that includes an end of the driveway and the plantings only. And we were looking a little up gradient towards the back of the house, which was, not seated very well, but that's a little outside our jurisdiction. The only thing we should be looking at is the plantings and the edge of the driveway where the storm system is. And I'll pull up those photos.
Brandon, if there's an area that's unstabilized directly adjacent to the buffer zone, is that, I know it's outside our jurisdiction, but it could impact our jurisdiction.
Yes, it could, but could and does are two different things. Commission cannot take jurisdiction on an area outside of jurisdiction until that area outside of jurisdiction ends up in an area subject to jurisdiction. So the prime example is you have erosion from an area 101 feet away, goes downhill and gets deposited 99 feet away from the wetlands, so now you're within the 100-foot buffer zone. You can now take jurisdiction over that 101 feet, because the commission is allowed to go after the area that's causing the problem, regardless of how far away it is, because you can't fix the problem if you can't get to it, right? But until that happens, you can't take jurisdiction. So a potential is not actual.
Right.
Take action, but this is a certificate of compliance, so we can only look at the 100 feet. in.
Correct. In this case, unless
No
and
matter
until...
what's up with the other.
Unless and until, the area outside is causing a problem within the 100 feet, you have to focus on the area within 100 feet.
All right. So, and from your pictures, how can we know if that's inside or outside the 100 feet?
It's outside because these plantings, the line comes right through, right here, right through these plantings, and includes everything to the left and the properties to the right, the houses to the right. As you can see here, the line kind of comes through right here. 100-foot buffer. So all this is outside jurisdiction. The plantings and the drainage for the driveway is built within accordance with the approved plan. So I'd recommend, and I took pictures up above, and
those are inadmissible because they're outside jurisdiction, but on the underside of this, this is the piece that's within our jurisdiction, and this was built and functioning properly.
Okay. Any commission members have any thoughts or concerns, or? Okay. Looking at the plan, in all other respects, looking at the red line, what was built, and the black lines as to what was proposed, everything looks to be right, really close, right in the same location. I don't see an issue with proving this certificate of compliance. Does anyone want to make a motion to that effect?
Sure, I'll make a motion for request of certificate of compliance for DEP 143-1068, 10 Borderson, 61 U Street, map 197, lot 9, for approval for a certificate of compliance.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, Mike Greco seconds. All those in favor of issuing the certificate of compliance?
Jim Foran, aye.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Kate Thompson, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye. Thank you.
Granted. And next one, you, sir, will be recused. Yes.
Next is item number 10, request for certificate of compliance. DEP number 143-1055. Some dude by the name of Brendan Doyle, 52 Walnut Street, map 262, lots 5 and 6.
Mr. Doyle's recused himself.
Mr. Doyle has recused himself.
So I will share some photos. Originally, he got a partial certificate, waiting for grass to grow for above his septic system. The pictures here show the grass is growing in nicely. All looks very good. Along the front, everything looks great. Grass came in nicely. It's got the front mulched right to the edge. Everything looks good. I'd recommend an issuance on this.
Matt, are these pictures within the 100-foot buffer or outside the 100-foot buffer?
Actually outside, but this is for the septic repair, so it's, yeah, they're definitely outside, but
On this one, it was the driveway that was, oh no,
no, this one
the
was just,
septic system.
that was just the grass growing, that's it.
Just this, yeah, and it's all outside, like 75 feet or more
Yep.
outside of the,
Correct.
okay?
I'm behind. That's U Street.
Yep. Anybody have any comment or concerns? Go for
Make
it.
a motion to request for certificate of compliance, DEP 143-1055, Brandon Doyle for 52 Walnut Street, map 262, lot 5 and 6.
First
Okay,
certificate.
motion was made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mike Greco. All those in favor of approving the certificate of compliance?
Jim Foran, aye. I thought you were going to
Kate Thompson, aye.
say something else.
Mike Greco, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye. Do we welcome him back with?
Yeah.
It was a close vote.
It was.
Yeah. Kate's vote counted this time.
First reading.
Okay. All right, next up, item 11, a request for a certificate of compliance, DP number 143-1076 for McIntyre Loam, which was off of Legacy Circle, map 166, lot 15. Hey, state your name and
Good evening. My name is Michael Dryden. I'm a senior project manager with Allen Engineering here on behalf of McIntyre Loam. Of course, Tom McIntyre is joining me.
Yep, Tom McIntyre, Vice President McIntyre Loam, also manager of 6 Legacy Circle LLC, which is the landowner.
thank you. All right.
So we received an order, as you know, in June of 2023. The work has been completed. I believe Brandon's been at the site, and I believe Matthew's also been at the site. It's fully stabilized. It's a fairly straightforward project, about 750 linear feet of 24-foot wide gravel access road, 2 open detention/infiltration basins, and a 4x14
That's 61.
open bottom box culvert. Again, everything's been completed, engineer certification provided, the site's fully stabilized.
Okay, thank you. Matt, have you or Brandon been out to see this?
I have. I was there, I think, in the springtime. Yeah, at that point, I don't think that they fully understood certificate of compliance. They thought just having me out there to give the blessing would be enough, but I said, no, you have to file the paperwork, and come, which is what they're doing now.
Okay.
That said, I think they're good to go.
Yeah. I've got some pictures up on the screen, too. I was out there more recently. Everything is grown in nicely. Wetlands crossing, the basins, everything built right in accordance with the plan. I know our plans aren't redlined, which is what we typically ask for, but they're spot on with the original design.
We did initially prepare a red line, but it was so muddied, you couldn't tell what was what, so it was impossible to read just with all the contours.
Everything's grown in nicely. Get some clovers grown in there. Got a nice picture of those. So, didn't have any issues there.
One question I have in regards to the notice of intent and the as-built, I don't have a copy of the original plan, but was I was seeing a lot of riprap used. Was that what was proposed as part of the plan, to have a riprap bottom of the detention basins and on the slopes?
I think what you're referring to in the photos of the basins are the spillways and check dams. That was actually requested by the peer reviewer, Graves Engineering. I can show you the original plan right here if you'd like to see it.
Can you bring the pictures back up?
Yep, I'll do that right now.
Please. So that rock that I'm seeing in that picture,
You wanted to see the basin?
yeah, there was like that there.
So that's the riprap spillway. That's actually part of the design.
That's the design feature, okay. And then there was the first one that you had up there, Matt, was like an island of stone. It looked like it was in a low area to me, I don't know.
I went under the bridge just to look at that, but
That's the original material under the bridge, right? Original brook.
Yes, the bank was reconstructed with the original material. And then they used a grinding at the surface to stabilize it.
let's go on the edge. That's that basin. Opposite side of the bridge. There's the basin again.
So that's a spillway in the distance there, right?
Correct.
Okay. Keep go back one or two more.
Sure.
One more. There, that right there. What is that?
So that, again, is, I'm not sure which basin that is, it's difficult to tell, but both basins have riprap spillways, and that's because water is being channeled in a swale. So once it gets to the basin, a steeper 3-to-1 slope, we provided riprap, again, per the request of the peer reviewing engineer, to prevent erosion into the basins.
So it's not in the bottom of the basin?
No, it's just leading, and I can show you this design plan if you'd like to see it. Bring it in here. So if you look right here, see that riprap call out? It's that, and it's here and here. So where all the swales direct runoff, that's where we have that riprap. That's part of the design.
And what is planted in the basins?
It's just your typical seed mix for wild. I believe it's a wildflower mix. It's a common seed mix. Let's see if I can find it on here. And again, it's fully stabilized.
It is now? Because those pictures aren't really showing stable, or maybe it is, I don't know.
When was that?
Is that
picture?
stabilized?
I just took this last week. I think the picture's a little deceiving.
Yeah,
There's
certainly
definitely
when I was
grass
there,
growing.
Everything was plush and green.
Yeah,
So I'm not,
the picture's a little deceiving. Everything's definitely grown in very nicely. Sometimes I don't take good pictures. It's kind of my own fault.
That's what it is.
It's usually it. Like, sometimes I'll just look at it from too low or something.
Brandon, you got to take the pictures. I'm just kidding. I mean, it all looks good. Looks nice and clean. It looks like good work there. Just, just wanted to make sure that the basin itself has some habitat value, with it being some low-maintenance grasses and wildflowers and things like that, so.
it was a wet meadow mix that was used for the
Good.
basin
Okay.
and side slopes.
All right. Anybody else have any thoughts or questions? Are we okay with this? Yeah?
I'm okay.
All right. You want to make a motion?
Sure. I'll make a motion for certificate of compliance for DEP 143-1076, McIntyre Looms Incorporated, off Legacy Circle, map 166, lot 15.
I have a second.
Brendan Doyle, second.
Thank you, Brendan. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the certificate of compliance for Legacy Circle. All those in favor?
Jim Foran, aye.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Kate Thompson, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye. Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you all.
We appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
We're cruising along tonight.
Yeah, behind again, so
Ugh.
these two.
I'd like to request Samantha to be here.
I do too.
Maybe you should go to the other meeting, she can come stand in for you. I'm joking. I'm joking.
I'm in full agreement.
Wow. Item 12, yet another certificate of compliance. This one's DEP number 143-1017 for Scannell Properties, Route 146, map 141, lots 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, this is the
Someone here to help represent
Blackstone Logistics Center.
the Blackstone?
Dan Peeny from Bates and Thomas, a professional engineer, is here on Zoom representing Scannell Properties. So as you may recall, this project was permitted 3 years ago, was constructed, and for the last year, it's just been stabilizing for the most part. We had to work to get stabilization on the swale that runs along the west side of the building. So it's a 600,000 square foot building. Only a small portion of the development is within Douglas, and just a little bit of the work was within the 100-foot jurisdictional buffer zone. So the area is stabilized now, so we're making the request for a certificate of compliance.
Thank you. For those who aren't familiar, this is the building that is off of Lackey Dam Road as you go past 146, as you're going towards Northbridge. It's on the left-hand side. Northbridge.
It's in
Oh, that building?
which complicates it a little bit, but the southwestern portion of the site is in Douglas.
Right. Yep, so most of, the land's in, the building's in 3 towns, correct? Isn't it in Sutton?
It is. It is.
And
The building itself
Uxbridge?
is in all 3 of the towns as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Big set of plans. I'll just wait for you guys.
And I can share my screen if it's helpful and
Yes.
show the as-built plans.
Why don't you do that? That'd be great, thank you.
So we, it says the host disabled participant screen share.
She just gave you the okay.
Okay. Right, so this is, someone noted before, the red line's a little bit messy, but I'll zoom out a little bit here, but, the building itself, as noted, is in Uxbridge, Douglas, and Sutton. So the Douglas portion is the western portion of the site. There was a isolated wetland located along the Route 146 right-of-way here, with the buffer zone coming, out into this area here. And then it's a separate sheet, but if I scroll down, there's another wetland along the Route 146 right-of-way that comes off the property here. And that 100-foot buffer zone comes right to the edge of the grading right in here and then swings around. And then does come out further into the site down in Uxbridge here. So this was the swale I referenced earlier, the stormwater from a portion of the root drainage as well as the northern section of the western loading court comes down into the swale, which then flows down, eventually discharging to one of the main basins on the site, infiltration basin 2 in Uxbridge. So again, very little of the site is in buffer in Sutton, but there was some in it, so we did give an order of conditions for that work.
Right, it's very minimal.
All right, thank you. So, were there any deviations from the plan? Let me just ask you that. In Douglas against, in the buffer?
In the buffer zone of Douglas, I did note on the plan, on the letter I had sent in requesting the certificate of compliance, there was originally going to be a septic system here. Douglas did make sewer available for the project, so the septic system down here was abandoned. The force main now runs down Rocky Dam Road to Gilboa. And the water line loop around the building was modified just to where the water feeds into the building were. The entry location to the building was changed from the original plans, from the center to the side of the building. And an underground system was added up here, up in the sort of the northern area of the western loading port. Groundwater is pretty deep at the site, but during the wet periods, all of the upgradient water would want to break out on occasion during that wet period. So in order to stabilize that, an underground system was put in that discharges down into the swale area and eventually ties into the drainage system.
Okay, thank you. Brandon or Matt, did you review this, and do you see any issues with us?
No, I do not. I took some photos if you want to see them, but I think it was described very well by the applicant.
I'm okay to not see the photos. Does anyone want to see the photos? Okay. I'm good with this. You want to make a motion?
Sure, make a motion for a certificate of compliance for DP 143-1017 for Scannell Properties, 0 Route 146, map 141, lot 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Does anyone have a second?
Second.
Mike Greco, second. All those in favor of issuing the certificate of compliance for DP-143-1017 Scanell Properties?
Jim Foran, aye.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Keith Thompson, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, I appreciate it.
I feel like a football star, all the signing I'm doing.
I know. Think you signed more for a house?
Yeah.
52.
Okay, item 13, Blue Wave Solar Miter Modification, 45 Oak Street, DP number 143-0989. Someone here to represent Blue Wave?
Yep.
Yep, Greg Morehouse here with Mill Creek Renewables.
Oh, you usually come visit us.
I miss you guys too much, you know. I'm not family reunion quite yet.
Okay.
You also have Jeff Murphy here as well, civil engineer with Beals and Thomas, on behalf of the applicant.
All right, thank you. What do you have?
Sure. Yeah.
Go ahead, Greg.
No, I was gonna say, we've been working with the Crolls, our butters, and on our property line there to kind of reduce the point discharge of two basins, one of which has an outflow area within the 100-foot setback of the buffer zone. So we just want to show you those changes and get approval to see if we can get approval on that.
Okay, thank you. Can you explain the changes?
Sure. Could I pull up a plan quickly?
Yep.
All right, give me a second. Not letting me.
Go ahead.
Here, let's see.
Go ahead, Jeff, should be all set.
Yep. Just give me a second here. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So, as Greg mentioned, the changes are to Basin 3 and 4, which are along the far eastern side of the property, which is up as you view this plan. So Basin 4 is the one that has the change in the 100-foot buffer zone. You can see on this blow up here on the lower left, the outer portion of the 100-foot buffer zone crosses through on this figure here. The grading of the basin shown in black is the originally approved basin, which the grading of the basin itself and the outlet control structure and pipe have not changed. The change is to the level spreader or basically water dispersion feature down gradient of the basin outlet pipe. So originally the basin outflow would come through this riprap swale and then into this smaller area. And then as a result of, as Greg mentioned, discussions with the Crolls, the desire was to try and spread out the water over a longer or wider area to have it go more in the southeasterly direction towards the upper right as you view the plan. So in order to do that, we basically extended that level spreader pool out to the right as you view the plan and added a bit more riprap as well down gradient of the level spreader weir, which is kind of this more bold red line that runs through the middle here and resulting in a little bit more riprap and off grading of that feature as compared to the original smaller level spreader pool.
Okay.
And should note that it's within the approved limit of work, which hasn't changed. The dark dashed line with the tree line here is what the original approved limit of work is.
Is the pool still going to be in the same location, or is there not a pool at all with this proposed plan?
So it's the same location starting at the left side here, but then it just extends linearly more out to the right. So it's generally in a similar location, but it's going to allow the water to be carried out further to the right over a broader distance.
Okay, so that solid black line that your cursor is on right now, we should think of that as extending all the way over to the right side.
Correct, yes, it would be extending all the way over, and it's just like a bowl, like a linear shaped bowl, and then it'll have a curved weir that the water will flow up and over. Try to showing it in cross section. It's going to have like a little curved weir here, and then there's some off grading around the ends of the pool to kind of contain the water and force it to go through that curved weir section.
Okay. So, I look at this, and it begs the question for me, is the outfall pipe already installed in the pool section that was part of the original plan already installed? Or could that pool move out of the wetland buffer and just be to the right and outside the buffer zone?
So the outlet control structure and swale is already built.
It is, okay.
So, yes.
All right. So this pool area looks like it works into the other riprap area that's coming out of the basin. Is that a spillway of some kind there?
Yeah.
That's correct. I forgot to mention that. That was another thing that the Crolls had requested, was that the spillway be directed into this dispersal pool, whereas before they were operating kind of separately.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, it would tie into that same pool.
Okay. So it looks like the area of work within the buffer zone is a little bit greater. How much more work is in the buffer zone with this plan?
So like the outer fringes in red here, I think I got about 380 square feet, and about 100 of that is just more riprap to try to, armor this end of it.
Yeah.
And then this outer portion will just be vegetated with grass.
I mean, I think it's a better plan to include the spillway and have the spillway go through this revised level spreader area. So from that perspective, I think it's a better plan. I know, any other commission members have any concerns, thoughts or concerns?
I was curious why the change was made.
Primarily to disperse water over a broader area rather than have it travel in more of a, more concentrated in one spot. It's to spread it out over a greater distance parallel with the contour of the slope.
I'll try to explain, Brandon. The neighbor to this property below this is in Sutton. That's the Sutton town line. And they are farmers, but they farm trees and other things in this property below. And they were concerned that they weren't getting enough water spread out, that it was just becoming pointed and then going directly to the wetland, and they weren't getting the water, and they wanted to receive some of the water. Is that correct? An explanation?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's
This is Steve Kroll. Can you hear me?
Mr. Kroll.
Oh, yes, Mr. Kroll. Yep, I hear you.
Okay, so what you just said is accurate for the Basin 3 changes. This is a function of the way the slope of this lane continues downhill for a fair distance towards Manchuk Pond, towards Stevens Pond, towards Shore Road. It's not parallel to the property line, and the goal was to have the water along the property line. It's a nice stone wall that's been acting as a dispersion or spreader for decades, if not hundreds of years. And the goal was to distribute the water so that it doesn't erode the topsoil within our tree groves, which is what happened during the crazy rains. And also if you go directly downslope from the BBD, there is a major access road coming up, from here going down the hill towards our driveway that allows us to get in and farm the land. And we did not want all of the water to be hitting that access road and just washing it away for the second or third time in a very short amount of time. So by dispersing it and by moving it more in a southerly direction, it hits a lot more of the stone wall, and it disperses, and it goes back to more like it was before these basins were done, where the water is going to sheet down the slope as opposed to be funneled down in a concentrated flow.
Okay.
So the goal is to get the water to sheet as much as possible.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Cole, could you state your address, please?
Sure, 78 Torrey Road.
In Sutton, correct?
Correct.
All right. Thank you.
I've said so many times. So.
Thanks for the explanation, too. Does that answer your question? Thank you, Brandon. All right.
So, Mr. Chairman, just for the record, there was a peer review conducted for the purpose of the planning board, and the planning board voted to approve this minor modification of their approved plan.
All right.
But part of the peer review recommended that they come to conservation because it encroached into the buffer zone. That's why they're here.
Yep. Okay.
Are you good?
I'm very good.
Okay.
I think it's an improvement.
I agree. Make a motion for Blue Wave Solar, minor modifications for 50 Oak Street.
45.
Oh, 45, sorry, my bad. 45 Oak Street, DEP 143-0989, to be approved.
As a minor modification.
With minor modifications.
Okay, motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Mike Greco, second. All those in favor of the approval of the minor modification for 45 Oak Street?
Jim Foran, aye.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Kate Thompson, I.
Mike Greco, aye.
Josiah Birch, abstain.
Mark Mungem, aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
No paperwork to sign on that one.
Okay.
No, not for a minor modification. A memo would be put in the file.
All right, thank you. All right, moving on to item 14 in new business, an RDA, public meeting, request for determination of applicability, 86 Island Road, for some tree removal. Donald Youngsma. Someone here? Come on up.
Do you want to waive the reading of the public notice?
Sure.
Make a motion to waive the public meeting.
Am I not
Notice.
put the,
Motion's been made to waive the reading of the public meeting notice. All those in favor?
Oh, yeah, a second.
Oh. Does anyone want to second the waiving of the public notice reading?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Josiah. All those in favor?
Jim Foran, aye.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Kate Thompson, I.
Mike Greco, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Okay, the meeting is now open.
Perfect.
Sorry to delay you there.
Matter of procedure.
Okay,
Okay.
so if you could explain what you're here for, please?
Well, I cut 4 trees down, and I realized that I had to go through conservation to get
Okay. So do you have this one?
I do.
All right.
I'll share the screen just a second. So we're
And what's the address? I'm sorry, where are you located?
86 Island Road.
Island Road. Okay, thank you.
So I received a call for this, and I responded and met Mr. Youngsma on site while they were cutting the trees down. They were just about done at the time. And I said, look, just clear the rest of it out and file an RDA, and he was in my office the next day, which is very good. So what you'll see here in one of the trees, and he doesn't have an arborist letter, but you can tell inside that tree was ready to go. Look at all the the growth inside the tree. And that's just one. There was an area here. It just shows the area in which was cleared. There was trees overhanging in this area. There's a stump right here. You can see the inside of the stump is almost all rotted away. There's another one in the woods a little bit. That's kind of an area that shows the side of the stump. It shows the area that the dock is located. There were some trees here.
Is that beach
Yes.
in that picture?
Yep. And I don't know why I took a picture of that tree. Can't remember. But ultimately, the trees have already been removed, and this is more of a posthumous RDA for trees that have been removed. They didn't remove any that were overhanging the water. They didn't pull any out of the water. But all the stumps have been preserved, and there wasn't any earth removal here. But the trees were cut down without an RDA, so this is more of a posthumous RDA than anything. And there are no more trees scheduled to be taken down at this time. Mr. Youngsma has been informed if he does in the future, he needs to file one. So,
Do you feel like, Matt, in seeing where these trees came down from, that any should be, or we should request that any be replaced to provide shade, or?
I don't. I believe there's plans, at least future plans, to put a garage there, I believe, so I don't think it's necessary.
So were they all in the same location?
Yes, right on one side of the house.
And how far away from the water?
I'd say the closest one might have been 30 feet, possibly, but none of them were leaning over. They were all leaning towards the house and the road and the driveway, or the roadway, sorry.
One was hit by lightning.
We have a plan that shows the actual distances from the water. Did you provide this plan, Mr. Youngsma?
Yep.
Okay. So you're right, they were right about, one is 30, another's 30, 33, and maybe 23 for one at the very edge of the property boundary, it looks like. And that was the rotted one, the really rotted one? And there's no plans for anything to be done in the area where the trees?
There's multiple reasons why, we're going to we'd like to put a garage there, a two-car garage.
You would have to come back to us for that, and file for that. Okay. All right. And are you proposing to do anything further with the stumps, or are they just flush cut and left?
I think that answers my question.
Anybody else have any questions or concerns?
How do we find out about these things?
I got a call from a neighbor, and I responded.
80% of the time, that's how it happens 100% of the time.
All right, well, for me, what's done is done, and, we're not going to have any more trees cut. If they are going to build a garage or want to propose a garage, you can come before us with plans for that. You're not going to remove the stumps. I know. Anyone want to make a motion to approve the negative RDA?
I'll make a motion to approve the negative RDA for 86 Island Road for the tree removals and no removal of the stumps, just let them be.
Second that.
Thank you, Josiah. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the negative RDA.
Jim Foran, aye.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Kate Thompson, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Thank you for coming.
All set.
Thank you, sir.
Good night.
So when do you close the public hearing versus open it?
As long as he declares it closed.
For
Declares
each
it open.
one?
Yeah, he declares it open, he has to declare it closed.
So for each one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think he actually closed that one, but
Did he?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It's the power of the chair.
Okay, next up, item number 15. This is an NOI, Notice of Intent, for DEP number 143-1106, public hearing. Notice of Intent for Cassidy Granger, 106 Pine Street, redevelopment of a single-family home, map 271, lot 11. Want to make a motion to not read the public hearing
time?
notice?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure. I'll make a motion to waive the public reading.
Okay, motion's been made to not read the public notice hearing. Anybody second?
Second.
Mike seconds. All those in favor?
Jim Foran, aye.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Kate Thompson, aye.
Mike, gonna vote?
Aye.
Thank you, Mike.
Mike Greco, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
All right, Mark Manjo, aye. All right, well, the meeting is now open. Can you state your name?
Good evening, Rauf Mankaris with Alpha Omega Engineering. I'm here with Cassidy Granger and her fiance Jack Chapman. They bought this property and they would like to build their future home in this area for their family. Currently, there is an existing single family on the property, a concrete padded driveway and an open area. As you can see those from the pictures here.
I'll put some stuff up on the board.
The previous owner didn't maintain the properties. There is a lot of trash on the property and my client is working on cleaning that by hand. Their goal is to build a new house, mostly outside the buffer zone, a septic system, and shift the driveway farther away from the wetland. They're also working on restoring the area within the 100-foot riverfront completely, adding a lot of fence. I did work with Brandon on it back and forth before I submitted the plan. And this is the one that we looked at. There were some comments on the previous plan with DEB, and I did update those, address all these comments, and we had these plans with the correct numbers. It's a redevelopment. The area within the 200 riverfront is 11,919. We allowed, the area we can do is 11,919. We're only doing 11,400. That's including the house, and the redevelopment area was already altered area. Other than that, actually, it's an improvement to the site because we're going to do a lot of cleanup on the site and also protect the riverfront.
Give me those riverfront numbers again.
The area allowed within the 200 riverfront is 11,919. For a redevelopment, we're only doing 11,400. That's including work within the existing redeveloped and existing grass area. So we just only for the temporary work during the construction. But the construction of the building is only the paved area, including the driveway, is 7,879.
Do we have a big plan? Thanks. So I assume the existing house will be raised
Yes.
and the existing driveway will be removed?
Will be part of it will be removed that's closer to the wetland, and it will be shifted away from the wetland.
Okay. So I know you have to take those areas out, but how close to the wetland and river is the future building going to be?
This is the 100-foot river from the wetland. So we are about 80 feet from the wetland for the house. This is the 100-foot river. The 100-foot river front. This area, whole area will be restored. And this is the 200 river from the septic is completely outside. Section of the house is completely outside.
I can't tell where the existing house is on the plan.
The existing house on the other side is the existing unproposed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, you can follow the tree lines pretty well, even if you can't see where the house is overlaid on the new house.
But the new house is mostly outside the buffer zone.
Does the new house go around the pool?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a one-floor house, and we would like to be able to maintain, to take care of the elderly family.
So it's the shape.
Yep. And it's like this corner, right? That they're talking about?
Do you have another bigger plan that you could
Would you like this one?
put on the other side of the table, maybe?
So the house is around this pool?
Yes.
This is the house, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, I got you. So how far
You have a big plan?
is the house from this wetland here? 50.
This is the 100-foot river front.
Yes.
This is not the wetland. This is the area to go store in the 100-foot river front.
Mr. Chairman,
So the wetland
Yeah.
is right here.
What's that?
may I, would you still deliberating?
Yes, I'd love for you to
Thank you.
about it, please. And
I'm in agreement with Raouf on this one. If we look at it from a pure performance standard for riverfront area, it's new construction in pre-existing disturbed areas, right? So it's not like, there's a small portion of the woods south of the proposed house they're going to be incurring into. However, even with that, there are two performance standards that are being met here that I think are critical to helping this pass. And one is that they have to remain under 10% of the total riverfront area on site for new disturbance. Okay, so for the new members. Riverfront area is that area within 200 feet of a perennial stream or river, which we have here on the right-hand side that Raouf is marked in blue. All right, and first things first, as I'll say, is that I've been to the site and I agree with the wetland resource area boundary delineations. So I think they're accurate, they didn't need to be changed. So all the buffer zones that come off of it are also accurate. You have a 100-foot buffer zone from the wetland boundary, which he has in green, and a 200-foot riverfront area from the blue line, which is the edge of the river. Okay. They're keeping, 80 feet away from the wetland, which is pretty good. You generally want to stay at least 50 feet away. With the riverfront area, though, the performance standards are much more specific in that you have to calculate how many square feet of riverfront area that you have on site. And then you have to keep your total new disturbance under 10% of that number and keep all disturbance at least 100 feet away from the river to begin with. Additionally, the commission has the wherewithal to require that if already disturbed, the area within 100 feet must be replanted and restored. And they're doing all of that. So they've kept their total disturbance under 10%. They're keeping all the new work at least 100 feet away, and they're giving back some of the lawn that's already there by doing a planting to let it revert back to forest. So I believe that this plan meets the performance standards in the Wetlands Protection Act and the bylaw. Not only that, but the place is a dump. There's a double wide here that's seen better days. Yeah, here's a couple pictures of it.
It was worse than that, actually.
Yeah.
They've been cleaning a lot.
Yeah, there's some, you can tell where they've been cleaning junk out here. And there's a camper as well that has seen better days, and yeah, it's right out of a Jason movie. So, yeah. I peeked into this door and it's horrifying. No disrespect.
Point of procedure, do you have a signed work program for this? Do we?
No, did this one come in before the consultant fee schedule was issued?
Not sure.
You're not sure? I'm not sure either.
Okay, that's a question for the applicant.
Yeah, I suppose that's a question. I think you did.
We did submit, yeah. We did submit it based on the fee. I asked you about it.
I remember that now. Thank you, Rob.
Okay, thank you.
So I see they're proposing to reestablish the 100-foot riverfront buffer by a planting, correct? That includes oak trees, maple trees, 2 different kinds, some dogwood, and some shrubs like mountain laurel, witch hazel, and beach plum.
Yes.
Great.
I think that the planting is appropriate, given the species. They're the right kind for the right place, as far as the hydrology.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
I would agree that it's, it's good that that is being reestablished. That's very helpful to the plan. Any thoughts from other commission members, Josiah or anybody?
Looks good to me.
Does anybody care to see the site, or is there we pretty comfortable with this plan and has, yeah, no, never mind. It's like the structure itself, the closest the structure gets to the wetland area is round about, what, 80 feet?
Yes.
Yeah, everything's really tucked up into that front corner of the property to stay as far away from the jurisdictional areas as possible.
Right. And through the chair, Mr. Chairman, this picture right here is an example of the lawn that's already there that's going to be replanted.
Replanted as lawn, or this is the area that gets planted?
Gets the trees and shrubs.
Gets the trees and shrubs, right. Okay. Is there a limit of work line on this plan?
Yes.
Erosion control measures.
Says erosion control zoning enforcement.
And does it spell out erosion control?
Reads erosion controls and limit of work. The only thing I could think of, Mr. Chairman, is whether or not the commission feels it necessary to have a permanent barrier along the right side where the planting is going to go for future permanent demarcation as a reminder. You've done this for some of the New Sherburne projects, so.
I think it's applicable here as well, personally.
What does that consist of, Brandon?
It can be boulders, it can be a split rail fence, it could be signs, it could be a combination of all three.
Which would you prefer?
That's just to indicate.
Split rail fence.
Stop here.
Okay.
Yeah, permanent, because eventually, 20 years is going to go by. People tend to forget, and then maybe there's a new owner that didn't know any, who knows how long they're going to be there. Hopefully a long time, but if not, the new owners, the property gets transferred, they don't know, and they say, oh, we need to square this lawn off. Like, it's irregular. So.
I'm sure my client is okay with whatever you
Preferably not boulders.
Yeah.
Just because, it is a pretty area to walk through those woods. So something, maybe not boulders, but if there's other options.
We typically request a split rail fence, if that would be something that would be...
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Can you state your name and address just for the minutes taker, please?
Yep, I'm Jack Chapman, Cassidy's fiance.
Thank you.
My current address or this address?
This one's fine.
106 Pine Street.
Thank you.
With or without signs on the posts?
With signs on the post. Not every post, every third post or fourth post.
What do the signs say?
They read buffer zone, do not disturb.
I don't know if I'd want to see that
This,
from my house, but
Yeah.
that's just my perspective.
The point of we haven't asked
If you have
science.
a beautiful yard and you look out and see these signs, it looks kind of,
I don't think
Well,
they're
they're
that big.
not.
They're 4 inches.
okay.
If they have
Gotta
to
get close.
fit on the post. So,
Will it be better if we do them on the wetland line itself? Just to show that there is a wetland line?
no, this is
no, because that's too far in.
different towns, different opinions. That's how they do it in Sutton.
I mean, if you don't like to, we don't have to do the signs. I think it's helpful to, as a reminder, but you're right. I mean, it's kind of
Yeah, I mean,
Kinda tacky to
I'll be
have
honest,
us-
in 20 years, is that fence still even going to be there? So signs, fence,
Well,
The
in the
fence.
special condition,
yes.
whether it's heated or not, I don't know, but there's a special condition when it's made for split rail fences that the fence be repaired or replaced as necessary in perpetuity. And the way that would get enforced is if somebody does something they weren't supposed to do, and that 80% of the time a neighbor calls, 100% of the time, commission goes out there, sees, oh, there's an old permit for this, and they read up on the permit and they say, oh, there's supposed to be a split rail fence here. Where's the split rail? It's not there. Guess what? This is an in perpetuity condition. We need you to replace this fence. So that's how that works.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'd say make that a condition.
Any public comment?
Oh, yeah, public.
Does anybody from the public have any comment on this plan? Hearing none.
You want to close it? Or do you close it after?
We have to make a motion to
Okay.
close.
No, you declared it open.
Yeah.
So you could just close it.
All right, any other comments from the board? All right, public hearing is closed.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the NOI for DP 143-1106 for Cassidy Granger at 106 Pine Street, with special conditions, split rail fence with signs on every third or fourth one.
Along the
Along
riverfront line.
the 100-foot riverfoot line
And standard special conditions.
and standard special conditions.
Very good.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is that Mike?
Second, yeah.
Mike Greco seconds.
We,
Yeah, weak second. He was not really sure about that one. All right, motion's been made and seconded to approve the notice of intent. For Cassidy Granger, 106 Pine Street, with standard special conditions and with a special condition that a split rail fence be placed on the 100-foot riverfront boundary. All those in favor?
Jim Foran, aye.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Kate Thompson, I.
Mike Greco, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Clarification, that will be in the area of the restoration, not the whole riverfront, because there is a wood.
That's correct.
So it's from here down to, say, right there.
Okay, it will be just in the right now, so they just don't go beyond that.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. You know, wherever you're right here.
Okay, so to enter behind us. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Signing away tonight, clearing the slate, this is great.
I don't know.
One more for new business.
Next up,
Raise it.
star of the show. NOI DEP number 143-11, no DEP number yet. A public hearing, notice of intent for Robert Sullivan, North Street between Gilboa Street and Brown Road for roadway and utility improvements.
And I'll make a motion to waive the public reading.
Motion's been made to waive the public reading. All those, yeah. Anyone have a second?
Second.
Mike Greco seconds the waiving of the reading. All those in favor?
Jim Foran, aye.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Kate Thompson, I.
Mike Greco, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye. The meeting is now open. Who's here representing this project?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. This is Michelle Simino of Stantec Consulting. I hope everyone's doing well tonight. I'm here virtual, and my colleague David Glenn, the stormwater engineer on the project, is there in person with you. And I believe also attending virtual is Bob Sullivan from the Douglas Water and Sewer Department.
Yes, I'm here.
Are you on? Great. Bob, did you want to give an introduction to the project, or do you want me to just dive right into the work being proposed?
Michelle, which one?
I'm good with that, right, and across the board.
And we got another Bob here, right?
Additional information.
Okay, sure. May I share my screen to give you an overview of the plans and the work area?
Yep, we'll get right on that.
Sure.
1 second.
Great. Okay, sending a request.
All set. Good. Introduce yourself, Bob.
Michelle, I just want to say Bob Monero is Economic Development.
I don't think that mic's on.
Thank you, Bob. Apologies, I can't see the room there.
There you go.
Did that request go through to share?
It did.
It's going through.
I'm not seeing anything on my end pop up.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep, just click that green arrow.
Yeah, just click the green arrow.
There we go. All right. I think we might be in business now. Can you see a locust map?
Yes.
Okay, great. So just to introduce the project, we're here on behalf of the Town of Douglas Water and Sewer Department. This is a notice of intent for, the project is called the North Street Roadway and Utility Improvement Project. And it's primarily in the Town of Douglas with a little piece in the Town of Sutton. The project, if you can see my locus here, is located along North Street within the right-of-way, the town's right-of-way. The southern terminus of the project is here at the intersection of North Street and Gilboa, and then it runs approximately 5,500 linear feet north, right to the border of Sutton. The project is largely within a previously disturbed impervious area. Like I mentioned, it's the right-of-way, and it's surrounded by, residential properties to the east and south and west. The actual project includes improvements, and it will include the installation of water main, sewer main, and drainage improvements, as well as a widening and straightening of the roadway and construction of an American Disabilities Act compliant sidewalk. The roadway currently is configured in a way that it is irregular configuration, and there's no sidewalk. So the project will actually result in the widening of the roadway where it will be of a consistent width and have a sidewalk to the west. The project is being filed under the Wetlands Protection Act and the Town of Douglas General Bylaw, as well as the Conservation Commission Town of Douglas policy, just for the record, and then we waive the reading of the notice of intent public hearing. So just to provide that for the record. The project also includes stormwater management and drainage improvements, which my colleague David Glenn, who is the stormwater engineer, will be going into a little bit more detail about how the project improves and complies with the Massachusetts stormwater standards and makes drainage improvements to the area. So we'll be going into more detail later. Just to give you a little bit of the lay of the land here, the project is partially within the 200-foot riverfront area to the Mumford River, which is located on the southern terminus of the project. And I'm just going to switch over to the plans here to give you the lay of the lands. So can everybody see that okay?
It's a little small.
It's hard to read, but we see it.
Yeah, if you could, Michelle, if you could just zoom in on whatever areas you want to have the commission focus in on, it'll make it easier to see.
Absolutely. Apologies, my Adobe has decided to put itself to sleep right now. Okay, there we go. So this is the Mumford River. In terms of jurisdictional resource areas associated with the project, we've got the mean annual high water line of the Mumford River, which was actually delineated by another group when the Gilboa Street reconfiguration project was completed a while back. And so that sets the 200-foot riverfront area. That is in yellow. We've got some bordering vegetated wetland associated with the adjacent to the Mumford River. And then we also have a FEMA flood zone at elevation 338, which is synonymous, of course, with bordering land subject to flooding. No work is taking place in there, but I'm just pointing out the resource areas on site. And then further up the road, further north up the road, we have an intermittent stream. Here we are at the intersection of Pond Street and North Street. Again, we're moving north. So we have this intermittent stream here that was flagged as bank. And then we have some bordering vegetated wetland on either side of that stream. Now that stream continues to the east here, which we didn't want to trespass on private property. So there is a hydrological connection there, and it's off of Gilboa Court here, it's connected. So there's a 100-foot buffer zone, and then, of course, your 50-foot buffer zone, no touch zone under your bylaw. Moving a little bit north. Moving a little bit north, we have another BBW located, St. Lone Pond Street. I do apologize, my Adobe is just, it's not responding very quickly here. Anyway, moving north on North Street, there's another boring vegetated wetland located to the east that sets a 100-foot buffer zone onto the roadway. As I mentioned, the project is primarily a roadway project within the right-of-way, and the main elements of the project are so replacement of the existing 8-inch water main within the roadway with a 12-inch water main. And then we'll also install the associated structures like gate valves, hydrants, and service lines. There's spot repairs to existing manholes associated with the sewer lines. There is the installation of a 300,000-gallon elevated potable water storage tank. That is outside of Conservation Commission jurisdiction, but I wanted to mention it because it is part of the project that is located adjacent to North Street. And then the biggest part of the project is the reconstruction and reclamation of North Street to create a uniform roadway. This includes the resurfacing of the road, installation of the ADA compliant sidewalk and pedestrian ramps, as well as new curbing, signage, pavement marking, and a bike lane with crosswalks. Those are the main elements of the project. Like I mentioned, the work will take place within the 200-foot riverfront area. So we go back to the southern end of the project here. And it is mainly work associated with the sidewalk extension, the reconfiguration of the roadway, as well as some of the drainage work and stormwater improvements that Dave will go into in just a minute. And otherwise, it's the widening of the road in certain areas, which I will reach over here and just show you as we kind of move north. So the sidewalk will be to the west of the existing roadway here. There is an overall increase in impervious surface associated with the project, where the roadway has to be widened in certain areas, but then it will also be reduced in others, again, to make that uniform configuration. The rest of the work is primarily in the 100-foot buffer zone, or in some cases, your 50-foot buffer zone under your bylaw. For the most part, those are cases where it's already existing roadway and the work will just take place on the impervious surface, with the exception of some of the, right at the edge of the existing roadway where we're extending the sidewalks. And that is really an overview of the project. I will say through the duration of the project, there will be best management practices in place. We're doing compost filter tubes anywhere where there's disturbance. The catch basins will have inlet protection in them during the duration of the project. And with that, I will, unless there are any questions on that aspect of the project, I'll turn it over to Dave Glenn to dive into more details about the stormwater improvements and the drainage.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
Good, Dave.
Thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome.
It's on.
Can you go to some of the drainage plans, Michelle? Maybe the first sheet.
Which one specifically, Dave?
The first sheet, which is at the lower intersection.
Yeah. I'll do that. Right here, and let me know if you you want me to zoom in or out?
That sheet 105?
Another 5. There we go, Dave.
That's what I think. What I can do, let me just give you a quick overview of the stormwater management system. Proposed system itself will consist of stormwater BMPs to help improve the water quality, conveyance of the water, control of the water runoff, and provide some infiltration. The proposed project will end up replacing or abandoning the existing system that's out there now. The existing system that's out there now is pretty old. It's corrugated pipe in a lot of locations, catch basin to catch basin location. Some of the manholes are fairly old too, so basically the proposed stormwater will end up putting in a whole new closed drainage system within the whole corridor. Proposed BMPs will include deep sump catch basins with hoods, new manholes, will also include a whole new piping system, precast structures. All the work will be done within the actual roadway pavement itself within the project. There are 3 existing outfalls that are within the project corridor. As Michelle had mentioned, one of the first outfalls is an existing 18-inch at the intersection of Gilboa and North Street. That 18-inch outfall will be retained. There'll be no work done at that outfall location. The proposed drainage system will come down at the intersection, tie in with a new manhole, and that'll be the extent of the work. So all that work will be done outside of the actual head wall location itself. Will all be done in the buffer zone area for that location there. And that's the existing 18-inch outfall. The other outfall, as Michelle had mentioned, was at Pond Street. Can go to a couple more sheets, Michelle.
It's this one.
106.
There we go.
Yeah, that's it right there. This is the second outfall. The existing outfall, again, is an 18-inch RCP pipe. Again, similar to the intersection of Gilboa and North Street, will be tying into the line within the actual roadway pavement itself. And then that existing outfall and the pipe will be retained. There'll be no work done on that outfall for that second outfall. And then the third outfall would go toward the end of the project, Michelle.
So you're saying that with the sidewalk added and the roadway is wider, so there's more impervious surface, but the pipe sizes at the outfalls do not have to be increased?
Correct. The existing 18-inch that goes to Mountain River is going to be retained. The pipe system going to that 18-inch has been increased. All the existing pipes that were there currently, they were only 12-inch pipes. So the conveyance system going down to those outfalls has been increased. But the actual outfall itself is being retained. This is an 18-inch outfall, and the one at Gilboa is an 18-inch outfall. Those are being retained.
And the biggest pipe that's being laid is 18-inch as well, right?
Yes, yes.
But the calculations don't require that to be a bigger pipe?
No. I mean, the increase in impervious area is approximately 0.6 of an acre. The majority of the increase in impervious area is associated with the sidewalk. The actual roadway increase, I think, is around 3,000 square feet, very small. The majority of the increase in impervious is a sidewalk installation.
Is that going to be a 5-foot sidewalk all the way down?
Yes.
Wow.
Is this the plan you wanted, Dave, or do you want me to keep going?
No, that's the plan. Thank you, Michelle. This is the only pipe that will be actually increased in size. This is the 12-inch existing cross culvert that's down. It's about 300 feet upgraded from the town line to Sutton. There's an existing 12-inch cross culvert in that area. So part of the closed system is now going to discharge in that general vicinity. There's going to be 2 outfall locations at that area. One pipe is a 12-inch and one pipe is a 15-inch pipe. That's on sheet C-113.
Were there existing outfalls there already, or?
There's an existing cross culvert there. It's a 12-inch cross culvert. So that's going to be removed. And then with the new installation of the new closed system, will be 2 outfalls in that same vicinity. One will be a 12, and one will be a 15-inch pipe. There'll be a head wall, and then there'll be a fluid end, head wall and riprap protection at each outfall for the work itself. And that pipe there was undersized to begin with the associated drainage area.
So, I mean, I've been reading a lot of stories lately about drainage systems and old drainage systems and pipe sizes and issues with them not being large enough based on the new, amounts of rain that we're getting, torrential rains, and them creating issues. So that's why I asked the question I did about the 18-inch pipe down at the bottom of the hill, as to whether you guys strongly feel that that's large enough for future rains.
Based on the current regulations, yes.
But based on current or based on future?
Well, whatever the current DEP regulations.
Okay, so you're talking about TR 55, is what you based the stormwater on?
The NOAA 14.
NOAA 14, that's the answer I wanted to hear. That's the new one, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
It's when it's like over 8 inches on the 100-year storm as opposed to 7. So that's good.
But again, the closed system is not sized for 100-year storm.
May I, Mr. Chairman?
Please.
Thank you. Section 7 of the application package, general construction sequencing and schedule. It reads that there are 2 phases. Could you explain a little bit about the phasing of the project and when you think, in reality, some of these things might happen during the calendar year?
Bob, would you mind if I deferred that one to you? I can certainly go through the phase as we have it outlined in the application, but in terms of the gentleman's question about the reality and the schedule and everything, I want to defer to you on that.
Which Bob?
Which Bob are we looking at here?
Bob Sullivan, or who?
Some of the scheduling is dependent on the grant applications we have in. If those are successful, the likelihood is to start in the spring. This is probably a 2-year project overall. There's another component to this project, which is the water storage tank. So, but that doesn't have anything to do with this hearing. So overall, I think it looks like it's about a 2-year project.
Okay.
Starting spring next year, hopefully.
No, thank you. So I'm just reading the different phases here. Phase 1, obviously install the sediment controls, equip the catch basins within active work limits with textile fabric, inlet protection, saw cut the pavement, excavate the trench for the new water main, thank you very much. Site cast material to dump truck, install the utilities, backfill the trenches, which, by the way, if you're installing a new utility within the footprint of an existing road and you backfill the trench at the end of each day, that's actually an exempt activity under the Wetlands Protection Act. So if you're in the buffer zone only, if you're in riverfront area or you're in the bordering land subject to flooding, which is the 100-year floodplain, it's not exempt. So the point is, for most of this project, with the exception of the area on the very south near the Mumford River, the installation of the water line is, as long as they backfill the trench each day. It's an exempt activity. Install the temporary pavement, stabilize. And then phase 2, it reads, install the permanent pavement, install the sidewalk, curbing, and driveways, site and roadway cleanup, final restoration, and then finally the removal of the erosion controls. So I just wanted to go over that, or see if somebody could go over it. And now that we have the timing, I just want to see what was involved with the phasing. And overall, this is in regards to stormwater, which is applicable, but it's applicable under the redevelopment provisions of the stormwater management section. So it's not new construction, it's like retrofitting and slight improvement, right? So the standards aren't quite as stringent as they are for new construction. Basically, you have to make it some kind of improvement. I see improvements all over the place here. So I see it as a positive project. And with that, in the application package, there are 2 sections, which I earmarked, and here we go, that I would recommend for special conditions, and basically you rip the page right out of the report and add it as a special condition. And one is section 3.2 of the stormwater report, which is the stormwater management during construction section, and it states just how stormwater is going to be managed and what BMP's best management practices will be used, and I'm sure that a lot of that is on the site plan and the details already. And the second part that I would include as a special condition is on page 7 of the stormwater report, specifically sections 4.7 and 4.8. 4.7 is the construction period pollution prevention and erosion and sediment control statement. And part of that is that this project requires a stormwater pollution prevention plan. It does not have to be written now, but it has to be written, submitted to the EPA before construction begins. And I would recommend that a copy of that SWIP, as we call it, be submitted to the Conservation Commission at the same time it's submitted to the EPA. And also that Standard 9 is recorded as a special condition, which is the operation and maintenance plan, which is for redevelopment, it's not as robust. Basically, all it does is it states that the town of Douglas is responsible for the operation and maintenance of the project, and that the schedule for inspections and maintenance, things like the catch basins, will be in accordance with the town of Douglas MS4 permit annual maintenance program. So those are things I think have value, enough value to add them as special conditions for this project. Those are my comments.
Thank you, Brandon.
Yeah.
So much of the roadway is outside of our jurisdiction. It's the only part that's in our jurisdiction is where the roadway goes through buffer zones or the riverfront area, correct?
Yes and no. To go back to my earlier comment, there are parts of the road that are physically within jurisdiction, but the stormwater, water is moving uphill, it's moving downhill to areas within jurisdiction, so most of the roadway, if not all of it, is within your jurisdiction, so you might as well just take jurisdiction over the whole thing, which is what I believe they're doing here. Right? So, yep. The physical disturbance with the adding of the sidewalks, bike lanes, and stuff like that, I think is de minimis impact. The stormwater is really what I'm concerned with.
It should be our concern because this whole road probably has an elevation change of 80 or 100 feet from top to bottom. And it's all going one way and all going towards the Mumford River.
Correct.
Yep.
And if there's, if
that or Gilboa Brook eventually, and then which goes to the Mumford.
Right.
Yeah.
That's part of the problem we're trying to solve too.
Sure.
Virginia.
I didn't hear, is there curbing associated with the roadway?
There'd be granite curb on the sidewalk.
On the sidewalk side only?
Sidewalk side only, and spotty Cape Cod berm on the other side, if needed.
And is the sidewalk directly adjacent to the curb, or is there a grass strip?
No, direct.
It's right up
We only have
against
a
it.
30-foot right-of-way from Prentice Court to the Sutton Town line. 24-foot road, 5-foot sidewalk does not leave you much room. If you're a
That's what I figured, that's why I asked the question. I figured it's probably going to be right on it,
It is.
unfortunately.
Really narrow there.
Kind of zoom in on one of those areas for you.
This was a challenge.
Old cow path.
Okay, so there's the new sidewalk.
Did you say you were at PE?
So, may I offer clarification on one thing?
Of course.
Great, thank you. Someone, and I apologize, I can't see the whole room, mentioned about the exemption. And just to explain, the reason we didn't go for the exemption clause is because of the drainage improvements in the riverfront area, which kicks it out of eligibility for complete exemption. So we did file it under a limited project, just for the record.
Okay.
That's fine, Mr. Chairman.
So for me, my loaded question, and I know you can't answer it, but is we've improved Gilboa. Gilboa has a sidewalk. Now we're putting a sidewalk on North Street, and it all empties out at a bridge that's not wide enough to walk on. So when is the bridge going to become part of the project in Douglas to create a sidewalk?
That's next.
In 2 years?
That's what I wanted to hear, Bob.
I've been working on that for about 2 years now.
Okay.
Well,
I know it's a bigger
we come in
Bigger,
from three directions
project,
with
but-
improvements, in the middle is just awful.
Exactly. We're directing all these improvements to an area, choked area that you can't even
Hopefully we'll be
safely
before
walk
you soon.
across.
Yeah.
Cool. Great. That's what I wanted to hear.
That'll be
Thank
a
you.
River project.
Yeah, oh yeah, but it's much needed. Okay. I don't have any other questions for tonight. Does anybody else on the
No.
board have any questions for?
The only thing we still need, Mr. Chairman, is the DEP file number.
I know, we'll have to continue it
Right.
because of that, right?
Right. And the conditions that Brandon recommended, in addition to condition that I recommend, which is, goes without saying, to hold a pre-construction meeting to go over traffic
yeah.
flow and all that stuff.
Well,
as-
I think
as a
that's a
condition.
standard now.
Yeah,
That's-
probably.
That's in the standard, if I remember correctly, the commission, I don't know, this is when Joe Fitzpatrick was chair, the commission voted to make pre-construction meetings a standard special condition.
Good.
So it's in there.
Good.
It's like ragu.
So are all the other special conditions, Brandon, that you suggested, are those typical in a contract?
In a contract?
Or the specifications?
Yeah, and the specifications, they're not in every, they're not in every order of conditions, just when stormwater is a component. These are conditions that I always recommend putting in. Operation and maintenance becomes, the section on operations and maintenance becomes a special condition in perpetuity. The long-term pollution prevention plan becomes a special condition in perpetuity. Very good things to have whenever stormwater is involved, because stormwater never stops.
Right. Can I ask that you highlight those segments of that booklet and
course.
have it typed up, or and so that when we vote on this, we can just read off of something that is prepared for us?
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Just a little more work for you.
Job security, I call it.
We did
did speak to Mass DEP late this afternoon about the file number, and they said they were backlogged and there were about 40 projects ahead of this one. So we certainly hope that we will have it by the next hearing.
Okay.
Are there any comments from anybody in the public regarding this proposal? No?
How is this being funded?
Grants.
The town just applied for a $5 million MassWorks grant. We have, for the total, it's about a $14 million project, 13.5. We applied for a $5 million MassWorks grant. We should find out mid-October whether we get that or not. We're hoping we get all 5. We're trying to make contingency plans if they only give us 4. You just can't count on the full 5. The developer, this project is the infrastructure to support the Pine project. Is everybody aware of the Pine project? They're before the planning board now. Or they will be very shortly. They announced their intentions. It's the Pine project is a 2.8 million square foot rebuilding warehouse facility. This is the infrastructure to support that building. The water storage tank is, we've eliminated the fire tanks on the 3 different sites, the Tri-Town, the Cubes at Gilboa now, and the Pine project. Those developers have taken the cost of those tanks and put it towards this project, so we have some funding source coming from there, about 1.8 million. The rest of it is from the developer for off-site improvements, CRG Realty.
Will this project have to get voted on and approved by the townspeople, or because the funding isn't through the town, it doesn't have to be?
Well, it depends. If we don't get the 5 million MassWorks, we have to come up with some other funding source that will probably be a town meeting vote. But we won't know until mid-October, about a month from now.
We'll know that soon.
Very soon. And I might add to Mr. Benoit's pre-construction meeting with Gilboa, North Street, the projects that just ended. We had pre-construction meetings for those 2 projects, contracts 2 and 3. We plan on doing the same thing, plus a weekly construction meeting, every week for at least the first few months until we get a feel of the general contractor. It's not gone out to bid yet. It will be going out to bid before the end of the year.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm confusing you with Depot Street. Depot Street, which will be on your next agenda. That will be bid by the end of this year.
Okay.
So motion to continue.
Right.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to make a motion to continue to our next meeting, September 23rd, for, sorry.
North Street.
Thank you. So for North Street project, roadway and utility improvements.
We have a second?
At 6:30.
Brendan Doyle, second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to continue the public hearing for Robert Sullivan, North Street between Gilboa and Brown Road, roadway and utility improvement. All those in favor of continuing?
Jim Foran, aye.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Kate Thompson, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
9:20.
Have a great night.
Yep.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You got to close the public hearing. Yeah.
Continue.
Oh, all right, sorry.
Good try.
Yeah, you know.
You're trying to really get rid of them. Next up, old business, number 17. Reopen a public meeting, request for determination of applicability, 15 Cobblestone Lane, which is for some tree removal. Valerie Achola. Hi there.
Hello.
How are you? State your name and address, please.
Valerie Ochola, 15 Cobblestone Lane, Douglas, Massachusetts.
Hey, Valerie, what are you proposing?
I'm planning to install solar panels on my residence, and they are determined that to increase the amount of exposure, some trees needed to be cut around the perimeter of my property.
Okay. Matt, do we have a plan or?
I had included some schematics on the application.
Yep, they're in here. There's a sketch. It's what's
The tree removal picture?
17 in our book. There's a sketch on top of aerials. Like you get. I have some photos also.
How many trees is it?
5 trees, they recommended.
5 trees, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
They're the ones with the X, divided with the X.
All right. And what size are the trees, would you say?
They are pretty tall, about 100 feet height.
I got the pictures up on the screen for you. They're the tallest ones. There's.
White pines.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't get much light coming through white pines.
3, 4 here.
What side of the solar panels are the trees on?
The front, when you're standing from the road.
Yeah.
Do you know if they're the north side of or the south side, east, west? Okay. Do we have a lot configuration?
Yeah, I can pull that up. Hold on. Just get that away. 15 cobblestone.
Are
the solar panels already in place? No. Okay.
They're waiting to have the trees down at the same time when they're planning to do the solar.
There's southwestern trees on the lot about here.
Okay.
And you can see them shading the roof right now, right in that picture.
Right.
Yeah.
And where is the wetland in that picture?
We have the benefit from the last application a little bit to say that the wetland boundary, it's kind of,
It's in the woods, like right where the yellow line comes from, almost.
say it kind of comes to here about maybe the edge. It's tough to say because this really looks like the wetland on 19. It looks like a lot of it is over there, but.
So looking at this picture here, you said it's those tallest trees that I can see, probably.
Yes.
So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is that?
Actually, the picture, this other picture is the one that did not see on the satellite. It's on the other side, the first page.
Let's flip it over.
Yeah.
The ones with the X's, yep.
Looks like there's other trees all around the trees. Are there still other trees
Yep.
right next to
Yep.
these ones that are proposed to come out? So that's 2, right? There's 2 big white
There's
pines there.
3 there. There's 2
There's 3?
side by side.
Okay.
There's a third one here.
And then I think the other one.
And then the other 2 are right here, I believe.
Yes.
The X's are shown pretty close together, it looks like, on the plan. Like they're
Yeah,
not really
see,
spread out.
they're really close, these 2 are
Yeah.
really tight
I
together.
see 2 there, yep.
Yep. Those are the ones that are farther down. These are those 2, right here. One behind it.
Will the other trees that are adjacent to these ones be left?
Yes.
That one,
The only kind
That
of
one.
5 that were identified.
and that one. Those are the 5. This one, that one, these 2, and then the one in the front. Over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's a 5th right here.
Have you looked at it, Matt? Do you think that there's going to be an impact on the,
I just think the tall white pines, if they're not taking out the stumps, I think they'll be all set. They're not leaning towards a wetland or anything. They can easily fall towards the property. I don't see
There could be another reason to take them down, in other words,
Oh,
for a
yeah.
safety reason.
Absolutely, yep.
I mean, as I see it, I'm seeing a real dense growth of vegetation all around those trees.
Yeah, it's not going to affect the
not
buffer
like
from the
it's gonna-
neighbor or anything, right?
How far is it from the wetlands? How far?
They're probably pretty close. I'd say 25 to 30 feet.
Really?
As long as he's not stumping them, then, you know, I don't have a problem with it.
May I share?
Yep. Oh, sorry.
You don't have to be sorry.
Okay, so this highlighted lot right here, this lot in question, this one right here just came before the commission. This is the one where there's a perennial stream right in the middle of these woods right here, that Glenn Kravosky took the 4 days' worth of pictures and reclassified it from perennial to intermittent. So the wetland, let's see. Let me see if I can add some value by showing the shaded relief map. See what that does for us. Because it is the wetland's in a little valley right there. It just takes a little while for the thing to work. It's a big clunky program. It's good, but it's clunky. Yeah, in fact, here you go. So see the little depression in there?
Yeah.
So if I was going to call a wetland line in here anywhere, just by looking at a GIS overlay, I would go something like that, right? Okay, so now, in fact, I might even go across like this, right, like that. So let's do this. Let's make this this a nice yellow. Make it easy to see.
You having fun, Brandon?
It's like Bob Ross.
You know, a line needs
Making me jealous.
A line needs a little friend. Okay, all right, you ready for your bravery test? Here we go. Here we go.
Wow.
So let's go like that. Boom. So there's your approximate wetland line. So let's zoom in and let's pull some digital tape from the edge of the house.
It's close.
Yeah, it's like maybe 10, 15 feet.
Is that that's not the right house.
Not?
No.
I thought it was this one right here. I thought this is the one we just did.
He's 15. His driveway's on the other side of his house.
So where are you?
Not there.
In another town.
Well, this is Colonial, right?
No.
Cobblestone.
Cobblestone.
Colonial, cobblestone.
Well, I just wasted everybody's time. Never mind.
It looked close.
That was, nobody stopped me.
Well,
you were really rolling.
I was getting excited, man. My bar. Sorry about that, guys. All right, let's go to Cobblestone.
It's not even 1 a.m. yet.
It's a long Monday. It's Cobblestone. Where's Cobblestone really?
It's off of Franklin.
Oh, Frank.
a lot
I'm
farther
still learning the
south.
town.
A lot further south.
Further south?
Oh, yeah. A lot.
A lot further south, okay.
Well, there you're almost there now.
Okay.
Almost there. There you go, right there. You just went over it.
Whereabouts? You know, I've been on Cobblestone, but
That's Brookstide, and then,
it's Franklin.
yeah, and
Oh, right here.
Right there.
Right there, okay. Oh, my goodness. Wow, they looked a lot alike.
Yeah.
They looked a lot.
they're
Yeah,
both
green, huh?
rectangles, huh?
Lots of green, you know?
Okay, let's do this again. It's this one right here.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this exercise one more time. Thank you for your patience. Sorry to waste everyone's time.
It's okay.
No, it's an experience.
All right, just give it a second to do its thing. All All right.
Not so easy to tell.
Well, we got this thing. I think this is a path, actually. So I remember this path. The wetland was on the left side of this path. So if I was to draw a line where the wetland is, it'd be something like this, because this is part of the old gravel pit, something like that, okay? So I'm going to make a happy little yellow line, okay? And we're going to take this off. We're going to zoom in. I think you got more room than you think.
He does.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, we're good.
Great.
Valerie, you should be paying him. He made it.
No. He recovered from.
Yeah, he did recover, didn't he?
It's not the mistake, it's the recovery.
That's
The
right.
mistake that you get the respect for.
And we also learned something new.
All right. Any further thoughts on this? Any concerns?
No.
All right.
I'm good.
He's got to close the meeting.
Want to close it? Oh, I can close it.
That's right.
I'll close the public meeting for 15 Cobblestone Lane. Want to make a motion
I
to
will
approve?
make a motion to approve the RDA 415 Cobblestone Lane for the 5 trees to be removed and to leave the stumps.
Negative determination.
Negative determination.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thanks, Josiah. Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor of approving the negative RDA determination for 15 Cobblestone Lane?
Jim Four and I.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Kate Thompson, I.
Mike Rocco, aye. Josiah Birch, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye. Thank you very much.
Do you need to do any action after that?
I'll have it drafted for you tomorrow, and Jen will be in touch.
Thank you.
All right, sure thing.
Thank you. Brandon, you got papers for us to sign?
I'm trying not to be a pumpkin, guys.
Okay, we have Lakeshore Drive enforcement order as an update. Is there any new business for us to take up on Lakeshore Drive?
Well, let's find out.
Doing?
Members of the commission, old and new. My name's Scott Rolfe, OHI Engineering. Our office is 44 Wood Avenue, Mansfield. And I'm Robert Moran, 56 Lakeshore Drive.
So,
Thank you.
We met with Christina Hobbs.
Oh, good.
She's the Assistant Director of the Waterways Program out of Boston. She was there this morning at the site promptly at 9 o'clock.
wow, awesome.
We walked the site. She was supposed to send an email to you folks today. I don't know if you received it or not.
I didn't see it.
So she looked at the situation, the way the rocks were, and what she told us was that she thought it would be best to leave the rocks alone the way they are, not to put the rocks back in the water, and we need not file anything with them for anything to do with Chapter 91 unless we were to put rocks back. There is a section, if you face the water where the dock is, there's a section to the right where there are no rocks there, but the bank comes down a little, it's less steep than it is on either side. And it's stable there up to the water's edge. And she says, if you don't do anything with it, you don't have to file with us. If you put rocks there, if you want to dress that bank up, she said you would have to file with us. So she was going to send an email to you folks today. She was going to copy us, actually, to that effect, but she did not get to it.
It's really good to hear.
Okay.
All right.
I take it neither one of you were involved in this meeting today?
I just found out that it happened right now.
Okay.
I wouldn't have been able to attend even if I had known, though.
Yeah, Chrissy contacted me either late Thursday or early Friday, and it kind of came together quickly.
Well, that was great that she was able to get it in before the meeting.
Yeah.
She was happy to come to the site before she had to go to the
So the purpose, you contacted her directly about coming out, or?
No, she contacted me.
Okay.
Yes. And asked if she could come if the property was available.
Right, because
TP first reached out to us. Oh, sorry, we connected with her through Brandon, and I gave her Mr. Moran's contact information, so then she reached out.
Right.
Same day, sounds like Thursday, so it's good.
Okay. So where's that leave us? We're just going to wait and see this
For the
letter
email?
or email and review that?
I think that would be wise. I wish, if she'd gotten the email today, we might be able to take this a little further, but I would like to see her email.
I told her we had a hearing tonight. She says, I'll get the email up this afternoon, but she did, apparently she didn't.
Just check if she did.
Well, you know what, let me check one last time, just to make sure. And go around to the, so,
No, I do not see anything.
no, I do not have one. Okay.
Stuff happens.
So, but what I'm hearing here is that she said, don't put the rocks and boulders back.
Yes.
So is this plan here now moot? Because in this plan, there's a plan to put some boulders back.
Well, that's what we proposed last month.
So is that going to change based on her recommendation?
Sure.
Does
I
the-
didn't change the plan this afternoon because
Right.
has to go
Right,
channels first.
right. So then, if the plan is to now
Not do any.
kind of, not do anything, renege on this replacement of the boulders, first of all, does the commission feel comfortable with that, despite what the Chapter 91 folks, Chrissy, says about it? I guess that's the first place you should start. That would be a good discussion item.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I went the last meeting we had, and I didn't understand about putting the boulders back, and, Matthew explained about you do it in the wintertime. I've never heard of that, and it just seems to make more sense to me that,
It would be more detrimental to put them back.
yeah, you're going to disturb a lot of stuff. That's what I think, but that's just my opinion.
I mean, as long as we get the email and it confirms that she said not
Yeah, we need to
to
look
do
at the
that,
email.
I think,
but-
I don't know, I'd be okay. Mark?
Well, I mean, my opinion is that
It shouldn't have been.
they're the experts.
Yep.
I'm way more of an expert on these issues than I am.
Yeah, me
And
too.
And so if that's what she is recommending, we would have to go before her to make any change. So
Not necessarily.
that's who we should go by. It's her opinion we should go by.
So it sounds to me that even if they did submit for Chapter 91 license to remove the boulders, you most likely would have gotten approval to do so, if she's saying don't put them back. Most likely. So the question is, does the commission feel that the same way? And if you do, then do you just let it go? Do you require an after-the-fact notice of intent? What do you want to do?
I would also like to mention that she did specifically say, oh, these rocks are stabilizing the bank right here. She looked right at the rocks that were tucked in there and said, oh, they look like they're holding that bank in place pretty well. So.
Okay.
Well, I can look at it personally, and I can look at it what she's recommending. I mean, personally, I think, they're getting away with it a little bit by not having to do this work, and we're losing some of the structure in the water by not returning rocks. That's me personally who feels that way. You know, if someone else, a higher person is saying, don't bother to put them back, then I can agree with that. Now, I forget where we're at. That's my thoughts. I'd like to hear what others have, what others think as well on the commission.
Sounds like someone a lot smarter than me, for sure, is saying, telling us what to do. I don't think I could speak against her.
Well, keep in mind that they're two separate programs, separate yet equal. So the commission can still do what you want under the Wetlands Protection Act. They're working under the Chapter 91 regulations, which is, waters of the Commonwealth. So, I mean, there's no wrong answer here.
So I just think that we need to wait on this and bring it up again at the next meeting when we have her email or letter with her recommendation.
Good.
Well, if she does in fact recommend what I said, she said, would that lift the enforcement order off of Mr. Moran?
For 91? I think it would, because we put it there because of that, right?
Well,
no, there was also rocks placed in the bank.
This is correct. And then the question is, do you want some kind of after-the-fact filing to allow this? Because the enforcement order requires a cease and desist of activities, which they did. And then there's two options. You either have to restore it back to its original condition as much as possible, or B, if this is something the commission would have allowed anyway, submit an RDA or a notice of intent, your choice, to keep what they've done. So those are the options.
I don't know why you keep pushing this. If she's the assistant director of the Waterways Program, I don't, you at the last meeting, and initially you didn't want to touch it. You convinced the commission to pursue talking to the state about a Chapter 91 violation. You did. She come out and said, it's better to leave it alone. And now you're back trying to say, it's not good enough. We want you to do this.
Now I'm getting upset. Now I'm getting upset. I'm getting upset.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's twisting words. No, the separate yet equal programs deal with different things. The commission deals with the Wetlands Protection Act. Chapter 91 doesn't. Don't think that because Ms. Hops told you or them one thing that the commission has to go with it. She does not control the Conservation Commission under the Wetlands Protection Act.
Right, and that's why I say there's bank issues here as well as the water body.
Correct.
Issues. So, I'm not sure which direction I prefer or want to go with this. So I need to think about that a little bit.
Okay.
What are the remaining options? I mean, what are the choices that you're considering? I think I'm a little confused.
Okay, so the commission has to decide what to do under the Wetlands Protection Act, right? And I recommended the commission not go forward until we heard from Chapter 91 because there's overlap in jurisdiction, okay? Because if the Conservation Commission said to do one thing and then Chapter 91 came in and said, oh, no, you have to do this another way, it would just cause headaches that we didn't need, right? But now we're hearing that Chapter 91 is okay with the removal of the rocks and boulders. Okay, some of it's on the bank. The rocks that were taken from land under water bodies and waterways, Wetlands Protection Act issues, okay? So to just lift an enforcement order and then have no further action says something to people in the future along the lake who would wish to do similar things. No, just take them out. Chapter 91's not going to say anything, and then the Conservation Commission will lift the enforcement order and you're good, right? I don't think that sends the right message. So there should, I think there should be some kind of after-the-fact filing. Under the Wetlands Protection Act, anyway, either a request for determination of applicability or a notice of intent.
Which results in?
A permit, an actionable item that says that the Conservation Commission just didn't sweep this under the rug.
And then at the end of that, though, we could still say that we're okay with it.
You're okay with it officially?
Officially, because they backtracked it.
So this is more about making an example of Mr. Moran for future people's actions, future actions on the lake, rather than it is this particular incident.
It is both, in my opinion.
Well, I don't believe that the commission's job is to make an example of somebody for future potential issues.
It's an example by de facto.
So personally, and it's just my opinion, I don't feel a notice of intent would be required, but an RDA, just to get that paper trail, makes sense to me. To give that's an easy filing. It's quick, something we could do at the future meeting.
Is the lifting of the enforcement order itself a paper trail?
Yes, it's a paper trail in that you're now saying that there was no violation. And there was a violation.
I agree.
So if you just lift the enforcement order, which is the actionable item at the moment, with no further action, basically what you're saying is there's no actionable or jurisdictional issue. So, done. But there is. There was the removal of stones from land underwater and the placement of the boulders on the bank of the pond, which are both wetland jurisdictional areas.
Right, and this woman who came out, Chrissy, did you say? Christy? You know, she's not saying that what was done wasn't wrong. She's just saying, I don't want them put back in because it could cause more damage to put them back in than it is to leave them.
Right, so it seems to me that Chapter 91 is deciding not to enforce. They could, but they're not.
Might I remind the commission that one of the meetings, when you wrote the first enforcement order, was for Mr. Moran to go in during the drawdown and take the silt out of the pond. That's why, that's how the rocks started coming out in the first place, because the silt was in and amongst the rocks, or the rocks were under where the silt had deposited into the lake. So it's not like he just went in and just willy-nilly, just out of the blue, started pulling rocks out of the pond. The reason they were there,
No.
the effort that was being made was to take the silt out.
No, he still pulled them out of the pond.
Well,
He didn't have to move them out of the pond. He could have removed silt and moved the rocks around and left them there. He made the effort to pick up the rocks, put them in a truck, and take them out. That's not just taking the silt out.
But you can't just take the silt out without taking the rocks out with it.
No, yes, you can. You can leave rocks there.
You gotta have a real skilled person on a machine with a very small bucket to dig around the rocks.
Who says
I
you need a
didn't say
machine?
dig
You could be-
around them, I just said take them out and put them in a truck and take them off the property. That's what you're making it sound like he did nothing. He had to take them out. He didn't have to take them out.
I find it ironic that you put so much focus on this, yet in a previous estimate by, who was the fellow that... Paul Knappich, 5 to 10 cubic yards of silt washed into that pond. I wish you would give at least that much consideration to that situation that's caused the damage in the first place, rather than beat them up to take some rocks out of the pond with silt. It's been over a year since that first enforcement order was issued, and nothing has been done by the commission to go after anybody except Mr. Moran on trying to resolve the situation of the water coming down the road and washing out his property that he didn't cause. But you put more emphasis on the rocks in the pond in Chapter 91, da-da-da-da. Never would have happened if the erosion didn't happen in the first place. But you don't do anything about that. You haven't done anything about that. I tried to make that point at the last meeting. You just don't. I don't understand why. There's 4 people on the enforcement order.
All right, thank you very much.
Done anything, sir.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your comments.
I know you don't like it when I do that. but I'm sorry, it's a fact.
All right. Believe what you want.
So how is this left now?
We're not doing anything tonight. We don't have the email from the person who was there today, so I don't feel like we can do anything tonight.
I agree without that email, it's not.
It's hearsay.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, right. Wait, next meeting.
Can we at least get moved up onto the agenda? This is about 8 meetings that
You batting
I'm
last.
18, and
I don't mind. I mean, we have some other public hearings and some new ones scheduled for 6:30, but we can move this up ahead of any old business, if you'd like.
I think the agenda's going to get a lot lighter.
Yeah.
So shouldn't it be pending, even having this discussion again until we get the email, right?
Right.
Without the email, there's no need for further discussion.
Right.
So assuming we'll get that, and how far in advance do we need that before we have the next meeting?
48 hours, is it?
To post the agenda, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
so is this for next week's meeting, the 16th?
No,
The
it's every 2 weeks.
23rd? I'm sorry.
23rd.
That's okay. Do I need to make a?
Is the email, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, no, you're okay, go ahead.
Is the email directed to the entire group, or is it to Brandon?
I think to Matthew and I. I presume it will be.
So if you guys get the email, can you make sure?
Just that you don't copy us on,
Yeah.
she had all our contact information.
Well, I guess if you get it and they don't, you might want to forward it to them. That's all I'm saying, the sooner the better.
Absolutely will, sure.
All right.
All right. Want to make a motion to continue this?
We don't have to.
We don't have to. All right, well, we'll continue it to the next meeting.
Put it on the next
Yep,
agenda.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll try to move it up.
Good luck. Yep.
Matt, have you heard any more from our Birch Street friends?
I have. He actually filed an RDA, which is what we asked him to do before this meeting, or else we were going to start fining him. So he has put an RDA into our office. He hasn't put his legal ad in yet, so I don't know if he's going to be on our next agenda, but we do have an application and an application fee from him this time.
Okay.
So you said application fee and an ad?
Yeah, he still has to do his legal ad to get on to the next meeting. I don't know if that's been posted yet. There's still an opportunity for him to do it before, I think it's Thursday, but I don't know if he has.
It seems like such an antiquated way to notify people nowadays.
Yeah.
It is. The law has not caught up with the technology.
Right.
The way they portion the fees, half of it goes to the state, half of it goes to the town, except they put a certain weight on the amount of money that goes to the town, so it's one half the fee plus $12.50 goes to the town, and half the fee minus $12.50 goes to the state. It goes back to like the 1970s when $12.50 was actually something, it hasn't changed.
$12.50 was something. Yeah.
Is there anything that you can do to get him to put the ad, or is it just going to be a time waiting for him?
I keep sending it to him every day. Say, put this to the Telegram and send us a receipt. Otherwise, he has to pay for it. No, that's not something we're going to voluntarily pay for. He has to do it.
No, I understand that,
Yeah.
but if he's not going to do it, I'm just asking.
If he doesn't,
Something else we can
if he
do.
doesn't by our next meeting, then we could start issuing fines.
Okay.
He's still under an
Right.
enforcement order.
Okay,
So,
that's, all right, that's fine. I'm good with that then.
Having done it recently, it's really not difficult.
It's not.
Expensive, but not difficult.
Okay.
You're experienced. You got more experience than any of us at this.
It is expensive, I've done it, it's expensive. No one. But,
Brandon, you have an update for CRG?
Place is looking great, actually.
Yeah?
Yep.
that's it?
I
That's it.
concur. I drove by there and took some pictures, and it's definitely looking a lot better than it did.
Much, much better.
And they were, actually, the landscapers were out there the day that I drove by, and they were spraying.
This is exactly what should have been happening this time last year.
Unfortunately.
Yes.
We're in, we're in this dry, all of a sudden we're in a dry period, so, but whatever. All right. Anybody have any other topics they want to bring up or discuss?
Should I bring this up?
No. I only said
No, I don't
that
think it's
rhetorically. I
necessary.
really don't want anybody to bring
Okay.
anything up.
I will not.
You want me to make a motion?
Up to you.
Make a motion to close the meeting?
Adjourn.
Adjourn.
Second.
I think Brendan got it in a half a second before Josiah.
That was,
You did?
that was these two.
Somebody, who's that? I think me, yeah, he beat
Mike
me out
beat
by
me.
a second.
He did.
Made and seconded. All those in favor of adjourning?
Jim Farr and I.
Kate Thompson, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Mark Mungemai.
Okay, so that was a motion by Jim Foran, seconded by Mike Greco to adjourn.